They are so caught up with the idea of being with this person that they ignore how much pain it's really causing. There's been a lot of growth within myself within the last few years because I feel like I've been able to be like more of my authentic self. I see so much strength in being able to confront yourself and go back to experiences that might have been very hurtful. Like, that's not easy. So Giselle is actually my middle name. My first name is
here we
Edith.
go. She's already started. This is already recording because we gotta already start off. We gotta start. We have to start off with the fact that she's one of these people that goes by her middle name. This is not cool, all right? You cannot trip people out. So you go on a first date and they think your name is Giselle and they just throw it out there. That's actually not my real name. So you've been lying from the get-go. Awesome.
I have like different, identities.
So let's start. Okay, what's your legal name, ma'am?
My legal name is Edith.
Edith. But you don't go by.
I mean, like growing up in like school and stuff like that, and like anywhere like more like I guess like professional like jobs and stuff, they would call me Edith. But growing up with my family, they would call me Giselle or Giselle. But it's because like my grandma's name is Edith, and then my cousin's name is Edith, and then they decided to name me Edith.
So there's 3 Ediths running around.
Yeah, I'm the third.
So they just always went with Giselle?
Yeah, so everybody called me Giselle, and then like it's weird, like because it's like I feel like growing up, I felt like I had some sort of like identity crisis because like at school I was just so quiet, like I was so shy, so nervous, so anxious. I mean, I still kind of am, but like not as badly. And then like I felt like that was like Edith, and then I don't know. And then at home I was this crazy little girl who was like super comfortable with like my family, and then that was like Giselle. Like, yeah, I probably sound crazy.
So who are you right now?
I'm Edith Giselle Gonzalez.
So you're Edith Giselle Gonzalez. Okay, awesome.
Edith Giselle Gonzalez Rodriguez.
All right, cool. So I'll make a little bit of an intro in terms of like why is Edith Giselle Gonzalez sitting here on the podcast? And so you've been doing your hours here at the Adaptive Center. You're currently in school to become a registered mental health counselor or to become a licensed mental health counselor.
Yeah.
And I've seen you for months already, right? How many months have you been here?
Yeah, since August. So
yeah, you've been here since August, and probably about a month and a half ago, I was sitting in the conference room and we were just talking, and all of a sudden I was asking you, oh, like what else do you do? And you were telling me about MMA, and you were telling me about just different hobbies that you have. And then all of a sudden you pull up your phone, and this is where we're gonna show little clips of it.
Okay.
And you're like petting alligators and feeding gators and just hanging out.
Those are my best buddies.
Which then just like it was a moment for me where I was taken aback, because it was making me nervous to watch the video of you just around the gators just hanging out. Like, how does this come to be? Please tell me about this.
Okay, so this is gonna probably like be a little bit more of like a longer explanation.
That's fine. That's what we have time.
All right, there you go.
We have plenty of time.
So growing up, I always loved animals. Like you can ask like any of my family members or anyone that like knew me as a kiddo. Like I was like the animal girl. Like I would grow up watching like Steve Irwin, watching him like the crocodile hunter, and I was obsessed.
Do you know what happened to Steve Irwin?
I do know what happened to Steve
All right,
Irwin.
we'll continue.
It was
Go ahead.
a stingray. A stingray.
A stingray.
I'll never forgive stingrays for that.
Stingray, alligator. I mean, all right, go ahead. So you were watching a lot of Steve Irwin.
Yeah, I mean, just growing up, I was just like, I loved animals, and I always knew I wanted to work with animals, but more specifically, wildlife, one way or another. So I originally was like, okay, maybe I could become like a wildlife vet, or I always wanted to be like a zookeeper or something. Like, and then like growing up in high school and stuff, I was like, I did an internship at a vet clinic. I didn't really like it too much. It was like, don't think I'm a medicine person. And it's obviously like a lot more like medicine than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
And then I I just wanted to like work at like sanctuaries or maybe do like some research. So I started off like most of my AA was actually biology. But then like I switched to psychology because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Like I knew that I was like not into research. I didn't know exactly like how like what exactly I wanted to do. But then I also like noticed that I really like talking to people, like having deep conversations. A lot of people actually would come to me to talk to me about like things that they were going through and stuff. And like I had not, unfortunately, like, in high school, I didn't take any psych classes. My high school was not the best high school at the moment.
What high school did you go to?
I went to Barbara Goldman Senior
Okay.
High School.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that now they've changed and stuff. Like literally like the after I graduated they had a different like principal or something and he changed it up, but whatever. I didn't take any psych classes or anything like that, but like the semester, I think it was the semester before I changed my major, I had, and I was like, wow, I really like this. Like I could do basically like a lot of the stuff that I do, but like in a different manner and like paid for it. I'm like, man, I should like invest into this. So, and I changed paths, and I ended up getting like my AA at MDC in psychology, and then my bachelor's at FIU in psychology. But I made a promise to myself. I was like, I'm not gonna like give up my dream of like working with wildlife. I'm gonna do it one way or another, whether it's like a hobby or I'm volunteering or as a part-time job. And then this opportunity actually came up, like, and it was so random too, because I had been working at
Wait,
a gym.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick
Yeah,
because
you're
what
good.
you just said resonated with a conversation I was having yesterday, which is why do some people let go of that dream? As a kid, you have something that you gravitate towards. You have something, and this is an opinion, obviously. But we all have these things that we're passionate about that we love, but then sometimes something else will come up in our lives and we'll grab onto that because it's secure. How have you been able to still hold on to this? I mean, you're in school, you're busy, you have life going on, but then you're still making time for this thing that you're passionate about. How have you managed to do that?
I feel like I just always kind of like prioritize that. Like I feel like growing up, there was always that pressure of like, oh, you have to be like a doctor, or you have to do this or that, and then like I feel like I'm a little bit like rebellious, like a little bit of the rebellious kind. I've always been like, if I want to do this, if I really want to do this, I'm gonna do it, you know, like, and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If it's a bad thing, I learn from it, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Most of the time. There's a few things, gotta work on. But if it's a good thing, like I get to see, and I'm genuinely like a very curious and passionate person. Like when I really love something or have a passion for it, like I give it my all. Like I really like immerse myself into it. And so I think the curiosity of like, what if I don't ever try this? And then also I don't like to live with regrets, especially like big things like that. I was like, that's something I know that I've always wanted, I've always loved one way or another. And if I just give it up like that, like I'm never going to forgive myself for it, because then it's going to be like, wow, like you really didn't end up doing what you like promised that little girl to do. Like, so I think it just goes like really like deeper into like my childhood and like, I guess just like the way I am. And I feel like a lot of people tend to like lose that because of societal like standards and because of pressures that they might have. And like, I don't want to say I didn't have any pressures. I definitely did. But I feel like my parents like ended up like respecting like my decision, like what I chose to do. And I mean, they love me, and I'm really fortunate to have that. But I feel like not everyone has that type of support, or maybe like the leeway of it.
Of course. I think a lot of parents just they want the control, but they want the control because they think it's helpful to you.
Yeah.
But they don't realize like when you are constantly hovering over a child or directing them or telling them what to do, you're not giving them any sense of autonomy.
Yeah.
They have no independence. How are they supposed to grow if they're not making their own mistakes?
Exactly.
Right? So that's a style of parenting I can't agree with. And I think I'm a little bit of the rebellious type too, where I was just like, whatever, mom. Sorry, I love you, but I got to go. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say like one time that I remember is when I signed up for the military, I was still 17.
Oh, wow.
So I needed my mom's permission to sign up. And she literally signed with her eyes closed. She closed her eyes and signed. And then when September 11th happened, I was in boot camp. And when I called my mom, she was like, Niño, yo te lo dije. I told you. She was crying and sobbing on the phone. And I was like, Mom, I promise I'm not going to die. Well, I didn't know at the time, but
yeah, you were like,
I didn't. So, but it was a difficult time where I was like, oh, she definitely wanted control. I still did what I wanted to do, but maybe she was right in that situation.
Yeah. No, but like, how did that like make you feel like at the moment and even looking back at it now?
No, I was more. I felt safe. I was still in boot camp, so I wasn't really too concerned about it. But I just remember thinking, you see how you're turning your therapy side on.
I'm like,
how did that make you feel?
How did that make you feel? Yeah, Tell me more. Tell me more.
No, I just remember making that phone call, and she was just sobbing, and I was like, oh shit! I didn't know what happened at the time because when September 11th happened and I was in boot camp, there was no information, there was no news, we didn't have cell phones. This is 2001. And you weren't allowed to have any sort of outside communication while you're in boot camp. And so how did it make me feel? It made me feel like, oh my God, what did I do? And so I went throughout college with this looming cloud over my head, like I'm going to get sent to war. I remember constantly thinking I'm going to register for next semester. And my mindset was oftentimes, for what?
Oh my God.
For what? I might just get shipped out.
Oh, no, that's like so much pressure, anxiety, like having.
So I should have listened to my mom.
At the end of the day, listen to your mom.
So tell me, so you were saying that, so you were the rebellious type, you were rebelling against your mom. And so you've ended up going down this path where you wanted to learn more about animals or be more involved with wildlife.
Yeah.
Let's get to the gators.
Yeah. All right.
All right. I want to understand when you sign up for this, right? When was the first time that you stood face to face with a gator? How did you feel?
How did I feel? So the way that I felt, I wasn't scared, which surprised me. It really did. I was more nervous. Like I was nervous that I would make the wrong step or the wrong move, or I would like.
So time out. Is there a training manual for this? Do they guide you before you go in? So what are the instructions that they give you? I really want to know.
So, for a good while, I was watching the shows. Because I do shows at the park, and I was kind of like seeing the way, like analyzing, observing. So it wasn't just like to learn like the dialogue. It was really to see the way that they worked around them. And then my boss, he would go in with them and tell me to look from a closer proximity, but not like super like close, like still in like the pen. And the way that he would work with them, he explained, like, okay, like, obviously you don't want to put your hand inside of their mouths because anything that, like, they have, like, sensors around their, like, mouth. So anything that touches, like, their tongue, they will shut automatically.
So what about people who stick their face inside of
it? They do, but you just can't touch it. Like, or, like, I don't know if you've noticed, there's been people, like, alligator wrestlers who put their hand inside and they pull back. And, like, they just have to be really fast to do that. Yeah. So as long as you don't like touch, they shouldn't close, but they typically do.
Like, so you have both of your arms, so you're pretty fast. No?
Luckily, yes. I have all my fingers, I have my arms, I have all my limbs. Hopefully it stays like that.
So you step into this cage. You're observing first. What instructions do they give you? Like what guidance do you have?
So he mainly was telling me like that they can like read like the way that you approach them. Like if you're tense, they're gonna be like a little like tense. Also, like, when touching them, that I should kind of keep my fingers together rather than, like, out, and try to touch them in the middle, because they don't really see, like, they have, like, a blind spot here and behind their heads, because their eyes, like, poke this way, whatever. Okay. But, like, if you're touching them in the middle and they move fast, at least, like, you have that kind of, like, your fingers aren't out. Like, they said, okay, if you have them out, there's been many people who have touched them like this, and they've, like, gotten, like, their thumb. So just try to like touch in the middle like this. So that was something.
And you're okay with that. You're like, just be careful that he might rip off your thumb. So.
He might. Hey, it's a might. And so far they haven't. So hopefully,
I'm not trying to jinx you on this podcast. I'm just concerned. That's all.
No, I mean, I get it. At the end of the day, these guys are apex predators. I think they've definitely had.
What does that mean? Apex predators?
Like top of the top predators. Like technically they don't have any natural any natural predators out in the Everglades. But since they've had, I don't know if you know about that, the python situation that they have going on right now.
I know that pythons aren't what do you call it? They're not from here originally. Mm-hmm. They were brought in. They were
through the pet trade. Yeah, so like there's been many like animals, specifically like the Burmese python and different snakes, like including like anacondas and boa constrictors. They've brought them here to Florida, but they were originally just supposed to be pets. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people didn't or might have not known that they grow to be anywhere between 10 to 12 feet in length. Mm-hmm. So they ended up releasing them out into the wild. And unfortunately, like they've adapted very, very well. And they've taken out a huge portion of the smaller mammal species population. But the Burmese python in particular has been adapting so well. They've been growing to be anywhere between like 15 to 20 feet in length. Wow. And they not only have been a direct threat to like the smaller mammal species, but they've also been a direct threat to the alligators. Like they have found like 5-foot alligators inside of like 20-foot pythons.
What?
Yeah.
So there's gators out there getting eaten by pythons in the Everglades right down the street.
Right down the street, yeah. Like if you look it up, like I think there was like a video circulating kind of recently about like I think it was like an 18-foot python. It had like a 5-foot gator inside of its stomach. Like.
So what are the gators? What's their prey right now? You've said a lot of the smaller animals are getting eaten by the pythons and the boa constrictors. Mm-hmm. So what do they have left to feed on in the wild? I mean, the smaller mammal species are a part of their diet. Mm-hmm. They also eat fish, birds, and turtles. Okay. They actually have one of the strongest bite forces in the animal kingdom. It's about 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of closing pressure per square inch. So just to hang out with them for a little while. Why not? You know, but that crushes through turtle shells. So they are able to eat that. So what do you think it's going to do to your head, woman? Well, I'm not going to put my head inside the gator's mouth. And honestly, that is a huge misconception. A lot of people think that like gators are like these crazy creatures that are out there to like hunt humans. But like the truth is that out in the wild, they have a natural fear of humans, kind of like deer. You know, like animals, they just don't really want anything to do with us. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the time, like when people feed alligators, they lose that natural fear, and they also like end up associating people and food together. So that's when like they approach humans, and that's why it's illegal here in Florida to feed gators, because we want to avoid any of these accidents from happening. But obviously, that's not the only reason like that they like, you know, get defensive and stuff. Like sometimes they feel a little territorial if you're getting really close to them, like you're invading their space. And you know, there's been some people that are not too smart and go up to them and think that they're statues, but you know, like so think that they're statues. Yeah, because the thing is that they're really lazy. Like they're very lazy. I don't think people like you see it on National Geographic or any of those like documentaries, which I love watching, but you'll see them like in motion and stuff. But like that's not the reality for the most part. They tend to just lay out for a long time. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to the Everglades, but like a lot of the time you could just walk right past them and like you're fine. Like they like most of, I mean, I don't know, like I'm sure there's been like other accidents and situations that have occurred, but most of the time like they just mind their own business. It takes a lot of like for them to burn their energy. They do like to like conserve their energy. Like they could actually go an entire year without eating anything by relying on their fat source. And that's because like year? Yeah. Like they usually eat about like once a week. Like if they're lucky, like reptiles typically don't need to eat like as often as like us humans. But yeah, they could like, but that's because they like to conserve that energy. You get What's me? The difference? This is a really stupid question, but how do you differentiate between a gator and a crocodile? Okay, no, that's not a stupid question. We get that often. Of course. Here in Florida is actually the only place where they live naturally together, like like natively. But the main like one of the physical differences is like the snout. So gators have more of a U shape, kind of like a horseshoe kind of snout, and then crocodiles have more of a V shaped snout. Gators tend to be more of a charcoal color, like a darker coloration. Crocodiles tend to be a little bit more greenish, yellowish in pigmentation. Also, the teeth play a part. Like if you look at a gator, they have mainly their top teeth showing. So it's kind of like this. And then like for crocodiles, you could see both of them. So they're kind of like that. And oh my God, my nails aren't done with them. You know, you can ignore that. She's great. There's a women first world problems. You're talking about you're working with gators, but then she's worried about what her nails look on camera. Yeah, because I took them off recently. Whatever. But yeah, so like that's a big difference.
A lot of the time, crocodiles tend to grow much bigger than alligators. Like, and they're usually more aggressive than gators. Tampoco, I don't want to say that they're like they want to hunt humans either. They're just more likely to like lash towards.
So, but you could find both. So, let's say my aunt lives in Weston, right on her backyard is the Everglades. There's no more property behind her. And you see, so typically, are we seeing gators or crocodiles there?
Usually seeing gators. Crocodiles tend to live more in like coastal areas, like by the Keys and like the mangroves kind of areas. Gators tend to live more like freshwater, like Everglades type of like areas and stuff.
I've seen gators sprinting. They run. I had no idea. I read, I think they run like 40 miles per hour, something crazy like that.
They could run 15 miles per hour.
I'm sorry. Was it 15? That thing was moving quick though.
Well, I mean, they like when they do like run, they could go like like
it's
they
a
could
quick sprint.
like yeah. But they could only do it for like 10 seconds. And then they go back to like laying down or like just like chilling. But like, yeah, they are able to go 15 miles per hour on land and in water. But again, they could only do that for like 10 seconds. So like, but still, like it could still be really quick kind of thing. But again, they do like to like conserve their energy. They lose their energy really quickly because they're cold-blooded. So they have bumps on their back. I don't know if you like whenever you see like an alligator,
I stay back, but go ahead.
Yeah. From afar, that's the best thing to do is like admire them from afar. Obviously, like the gators that are with me are a little bit different.
But why? So why? Okay. So why are those different? Are they somewhat domesticated or they're just used to human behavior or humans moving around them? Is that why you feel more comfortable? Like what makes it safe for you to move around those particular gators?
Okay. So I wouldn't say it's 100. It's never 100% safe.
I'm aware.
But it's better than like just any gators just because they were born and raised in captivity. And so they've always been fed by humans. They've always been interacting with humans. They do recognize humans though. Like when I first went in there, the gator I was working with, his name is Buster. Yes. He was a little bit defensive. Like he like tensed up and like they know like the people that they know. But yeah, they've worked around like they've always been around humans and stuff like that. Like they're used to seeing certain faces and stuff come in and work with them. So that's, I feel like, the difference between, like, just wild alligators. But also the ones that we have are, like, they get fed, like, nearly every day. The days that we don't feed them are on cold days because they have to be at 65 degrees or higher in order for them to digest their food. But yeah, like, they see us often. Like, they don't really have, like, a direct reason to like lash out and attack us. That doesn't mean they can't do it. At the end of the day, this is what I say in my shows often too. It's like at the end of the day, again, these guys are apex predators. If I make a wrong move, like for example, usually when you splash in the water, they react by like moving their head. So like I don't know. There's just there's things that you just shouldn't, and it's okay to do. Like again, like putting your hand in the mouth.
Do you get into the water with them?
I don't. No, okay. I don't.
Because it's too dangerous, right?
I just don't feel comfortable doing it. There's some people that have done it. I just like, the land is like my place. The water's like their game. Like I don't. Yeah. But oh wow, I forgot what was I saying
No,
before.
It's okay.
What was it then?
No, but I was gonna ask. So, yeah, like I don't even know. The fact that you step into a pen with gators, I'm just trying to understand the mindset. So, okay, has there been any accidents that you've witnessed? Have you seen any gators tense up or become aggressive towards anybody?
I haven't seen, and from what I know at that park specifically, there hasn't been like any sort of accidents within the last like 16 years that they've seen. I don't know if there's from what I've heard too, there hasn't been any major accidents like an arm like being like ripped off. I could be wrong, but again, for the last like 16 years, there hasn't been anything huge. Like my coworker did once get bitten like on the thumb because he like tried to do this like stick trick, and then like the gator like kept the stick in his mouth, and then everybody was telling them to like take the stick off, and when he did, that's when like the gator kind of got like his thumb by mistake, but he let go, and
by
he
mistake,
still has his thumb.
Did he apologize, the gator? Or
yeah, no? He was very sorry. He's greedy. So, but But yeah, so from what I've known, no, I've gotten bitten by a baby alligator, but it's because I was training to learn how to catch, like, because we have baby alligators there too. We have 4 of them in the back, and then at the end of the show, we have people that like a photo opportunity where they can take photos with the baby alligator. So I have to know how to like grab them, catch them like properly, and then like be able to do the photos. So I was training on how to catch them, but there's some that are like smaller and they move really fast. That was another thing that they had me like look at the way that the babies moved and then like, know that hey, like the big ones could move like this too. So, but I don't know why. I think about it now. I'm like, why did I try to catch it with my left hand? I'm right-handed. I tried to catch him and I have like, I mean, you can't even see it anymore. I don't know if you can see. There's like a little.
Oh, I
like,
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it got a nice little bite there.
Yeah, just a little bite. He just bit and let go, but luckily he let go because if he held on and like went like this, he could definitely take off my finger. So, but no, that's the only thing that like I've had. I haven't had any accidents with the big ones. And then yeah, I mean there hasn't. I haven't witnessed anything. And
So what's your mindset as you're stepping into the cage now? Are you like, obviously we all have lives outside, right? And we all step into work. And some people are able to completely disconnect from that life and immerse themselves in what they're doing. And some people, they carry that luggage around. So let's say if you're going through a relationship issue or financial issues or you're stressed out because of a test, how do you find ways to leave that outside? Because you're stepping into a very dangerous situation where you said crocodiles feel your mood. They feel if you're tense.
yeah, the gators.
So yeah.
You're good. Don't you dare.
Excuse me. So yeah, the gators feel and they have an understanding of what you're experiencing.
Yeah, so I usually like it's like I put like a showtime face. Like I know I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta say everything, gotta make sure I look at the crowd, make sure I work around them. But I kind of like whenever people tell me like, oh, how is it like working with gators and stuff, I kind of like to describe it as like let's say
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
let's say like if you're driving, you know that if you go like this, you can like die at any minute. Or like someone could really like just ram right into you. But like you're not necessarily like really scared driving, maybe not all the time, but you know that you can like die really quick. It's kind of like that. Like but with regarding things like cuz I have like there was like a little while ago that I was going through some things and it was really hard for me to like continue to do a lot of things, but it's just kind of like for this situation, I think it's appropriate because obviously it's my job. But yeah, I just kind of like put on a mask, have to go out there, remember that, I got to do things. And then obviously I feel like everything just kind of floods back once I get out of the pen.
Yeah. I'm just thinking about the situation itself, and it's such a potentially stressful situation. I feel like your brain almost can shut down those other things that are going on because you have to be so mindful of because it's your survival, right? And I think it's our instinct that we want to survive. So it's not like you're going to be thinking about an issue that you had with your ex-boyfriend while you're standing in front of an alligator.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I get you.
Like you have to be completely mindful of what you're doing.
I will say that like I would say it's like sometimes because it's weird because like for the most part I would say like 85-90% is there, but randomly like I'll be talking and I'll be saying like doing my show because our show is more educational based. We don't wrestle the gators, we do feed them, touch them, go over them, whatever, like, but I'll be like having like a certain script that I usually say during my show, but then I'll be thinking something else, and like sometimes like that happens. Sometimes I'll think about like I have to finish like my homework, and then I'm like I'm on top of it, like I'm like multitasking, and it's weird. Like I don't know if it's something where it's like you might kind of get desensitized to it. It could potentially be that, but I still always like am very like I think careful. Like I don't want to say because I don't get like too comfortable with them. I definitely like there's certain things that I look at and I'm like, man, like like you gotta be a little more careful. But a lot of the times I'm like I watch my step. Like, I don't know. I think I gotten used to kind of making sure that I'm careful with my steps and careful with the way I work with them. But then sometimes my head does drift.
But do you think initially when you used to go in, you had more of a sympathetic response where your heart rate goes up, your breathing rate increases, and now as you've been exposed, it's almost like when you're doing exposure response therapy for somebody with OCD, where you continually expose them to something that they're afraid of, like somebody who's afraid of flights. and the way that you first take them just in, they even have these fake cabins I've seen.
Really?
Where they'll take, or if somebody's fearing elevators, let's say,
Yeah.
what's the first step? You just say, hey, we're not going to go in the elevator. Just push the button. The door opens. They start getting a sympathetic response. Their respiratory rate increases. The blood pressure. They get tunnel vision. And then you walk them through it. You talk them through it. Then eventually you get them into the elevator. Just standing in the elevator. Door's going to be open. We're not going to close it. And again, just constantly, and this can happen over weeks. Until that response lessens and they're able to actually go into the elevator, push the button, go down.
Be able to,
yeah. So
exposures.
do you think you've been exposed so much that that's why you feel desensitized?
Yeah, I think so. Cause like we'll have multiple shows during the day, so I'll often be there, and like, so I think cause in the beginning I was a little more like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, and honestly, it's a little weird because I feel like my focus was mainly more on like like saying the stuff I had to say. It's weird. I was like more scared of like doing this, like saying the facts correctly rather than like
the gators themselves.
But I definitely would have like certain moments where I'm like tensed and stuff like I think it's changed. I think that's what it has been. I've been like able to work with them more. I've been more exposed to them, and like I've kind of gotten used to being able to like know what I can and can't do, and like I think it's like a little bit like second nature, a little bit, like I just go with it.
How long have you been doing this?
Not too long, since like actually working with the Gators, I think since like late August, early September.
Oh, so we're looking at like 6 months.
No, I got the job like in the summer. I got the job because I met my friend who I also do MMA with. Shout out to Ayana. But she, like, I found that she works with Gators, and I'm like, no way. And I had just quit my other job, and I'm like, are they hiring by any chance? She was like, they actually are hiring. And she invited me and some friends to go like see her job, her show and stuff. And then afterwards, she's like, do you think you could do it? And I was like, hell yeah. And like I had an interview and everything went well. And
so what are the qualifications that they're looking for in somebody to work with the Gators?
For the most part, experience and like just having like an overall like genuine like care for the animals. Like seeing that like you're willing to do this, that you're passionate, that but like also like smart enough to like work with them. Like what I mean by that is like you're not gonna go in there and be like reckless and careless. Like you have to know what you're getting into. So like I've had some experience working with animals, not huge.
What animals were you working with before?
So I did an internship at a veterinarian clinic in high school. And then I worked. Well, no, I didn't work. I did it for clinical hours at a lab that had quail chicks. They were studying the developmental psychobiological development of them. And then I've had.
So wait, so what was that about? What was that research about?
So it was basically they would compare. They had like quail chicks, and then they would compare like development and. Like, okay, so they what they would do, they would inject certain eggs with testosterone, and then the other ones like would be just
normal.
Yeah. And then they would kind of like study their behavior afterwards. Like once they were born, to see like they would mark which ones like were injected and which ones weren't, and like to see like if one like some were more aggressive and just kind of like compare to see like their behavior and see how it is. I know that they did more like developmental kind of thing of like the way that like
the progression, like the developmental milestones to see like what was going on, or just how they were developing like behaviorally.
I think it was more behaviorally, but like I know that they did more, but I wasn't really there for too long. It was like COVID literally hit like around the time that like I was there, but I had that, and then like growing up I had a bunch of like pets. Why do I feel like I'm missing something out? I definitely have done like more. I just can't like.
What did you think about Tiger King?
Tiger King? Oh my god, the Tiger King is that's. I honestly found it extremely entertaining, but also extremely like sad for the tigers. Like, I know it's just a bunch of like crazy people, and like, but it just sucks. They're like milking the tigers, and then like what happens to them when they get like grown, and like I don't know. I think like I found it very entertaining like everybody else did to see like the crazy drama and the stories and stuff. But
I would make my psych students watch Tiger King.
really,
Absolutely. There's so much going on there
so
from a
much.
psychological perspective. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. But like, I think like I don't know. I just, but it's also like it's just like sad to like see like the whole. I feel like the whole reasons why a lot of these animals are in captivity is for education and conservation purposes, and like obviously that wasn't like what was going on there. That was just like that was just a business to them. It was just like money making like.
How do you differentiate that from where you're working? Because the gators you're with are in captivity, and you're doing it for educational purposes.
Yeah.
So you're saying, oh, you find more value because it's a sanctuary and you're doing it for education.
Yes.
And not to exploit the animals and make money off of shows and pictures, etc.
So like where I am, it's not a sanctuary. It's more of like a what do you call it? An airboat. How do I forget? An airboat park, and then with the purchase, you get the nature trail and the show, and then our gators, we actually got them from alligator farms, which is what they would do with like like cows and stuff, like sell them for the meat and skin and stuff.
But like, would they be able to survive in the wild?
No. So since they've gotten so used to people feeding them, it's a little bit hard. I mean, obviously they'll have their own instincts that like come in and like they're able to like go with that, but it just would be way more challenging for them to actually survive.
Like, I'm not trying to make you lose your job, but it sounds similar, like, because these animals are in captivity and they're still giving birth. They're not like neutered, or they're still able to produce. No,
they are, but we have all males, so they don't. They don't produce.
So then how are you getting the babies?
So the babies are also from the alligator farms. We have 4 babies in the back. We get them from alligator farms, and then they also are able to do the photo opportunity. But the money that we make off of the photos goes back to like the, what do you call it? The all purposes of like care for the animals, like food and all this stuff.
So where do the gators come from? The alligator farms? Like, what are alligator farms themselves?
I think that I'm not 100% sure. I haven't like looked too much into them, but like that's where they like breed them and raise them. And like I know that it's not only for those uses. Like I'm sure that like, I think that, I don't know if it was an alligator farm that I went to like the first time I went to the Everglades, but I'm sure they have like airboats, and they also like have like shows and stuff. But I believe that they, like for other parks who want have alligators as well, like that's where people get the alligators from.
Let me clear the air.
They shouldn't. Yeah.
Let me clear the air. I'm perfectly fine if people are making these into alligator bites in their appetizers. Like, that's no offense to you, don't hurt me or anything, but I'm just wondering like how this ecosystem works in terms of how is the Everglade Safari Park getting that? Yeah, how are they getting the alligators? Obviously you're taking care of them. You want to educate. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's all. I said Tiger King, and then you were talking about that, so my brain just went. It was a little bit different. How does this work? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, them like also like, the gators that we've had there, we've had them for a good while now. Like, we have 3 gators, Buster, Rocky, and Bubba. They're about 14 years old, and then we have Greedy, which is like about 45 years old or so. And like again, they were born and raised in captivity. And then we don't like at least what I was saying from Tiger King, they'll have like these cubs, right? And like from what according to the document,
of course.
They have the cubs, and then it's like what happens when they get grown, because they grow way faster. Like alligators usually grow by the foot, so if they're like 3 feet, they're like 3 years old. If they're like 5 feet, they're like 5 years old. They do reach sexual maturity anywhere between 5 to 8 years old. But like the cubs, like within like the year, they're already pretty big, and then like they grow pretty fast, But the gators that we have, like, we don't, like, they like, we rotate the ones that we have in the park as well with the show ones, unless we know that they're pretty good. But we don't we don't breed them there, like.
Yeah,
we also do it for like.
Of course, yeah. If you were breeding them there and then selling off, because that's what he was doing. He was breeding them in captivity and then selling the cubs outside and then taking.
Like we have the same amount. We have the same amount of gators, and we have like the money. Like from what I know, my understanding, they have like the money to be able to take care of these gators. You get me?
Yeah.
But like what I've seen in Tiger King is that they just kept having babies, and then like according to the documentary, they like shot like 11 tigers or something like that, because they're like, that's another bill.
Yeah,
that's how they saw it.
them,
Yeah, like in our park, it's different. We're also part of the Everglades National Park. So like we'll often get like national park officials coming in, monitoring us, making sure that everything's good. So that's the difference. The other one was privately owned.
Got you. Yeah,
So
it was. One was all for profit.
Yeah.
And this is. I'm assuming it's a nonprofit organization. Do you know or no?
I'm not 100. I don't think it's nonprofit. I think since again it's like we're not privately owned.
Who owns it? Who started this Everglades Safari Park?
So I'm not sure exactly like the right like who founded it, because they have switched owners within the last like few years or so. But the one that owns it right now is my boss. But again, they're technically, it's not like, it's still part of the national park. So it's like he manages it and does all these things, but national park is still like, that's technically national park property as well.
Gotcha.
So they monitor and manage things as well. I don't know exactly like, since again I mainly work for the shows and like and care for the Gators.
No,
like,
we were just on that topic, so that's why I was curious to see like, I don't know. I guess the financial ecosystem. How does it survive? But yeah, if it's going back to alligators, obviously it has to pay the employees that go.
Yeah, the revenue, like exactly. Like they have like, I'm guessing from like the tickets and like, a portion of the money made from the Gators does go to us as well. But like, it's all managed like with that. Yeah. Like
it's just cool to think about how many different ways people find ways to generate revenue and to do something that they're passionate about, right? Like Gators.
Yeah.
Gators is an industry. It's pretty cool.
I mean, there's like an industry for like everything.
For everything, for sure.
But I think it's like, it also goes back to like, I mean, at least like morally in my like heart and mind, it's like making sure that it's not being used in like malicious ways, sure. Like seeing what's like in the best interest. Like, again, our shows are not like, we don't like necessarily like pull their tails, wrestle them. Like we like to work around our Gators. We don't like to force them to do anything that like they don't want to do. And it's more educational based for sure. Like if you were to like come see the show, or if anyone that goes to like visit the park, like the airboats, they stop, like the captains, they'll stop and they'll talk about like, like about the Everglades ecosystem, about the birds and the sawgrass and all that. And then when you go to the show, we mainly like we talk about like the alligators' behavior, their anatomy, and like misconceptions that people have had. And we also take out snakes as well, to be able to talk about that. So
it's crazy that the Everglades is so huge, and I'm pretty sure most of my friends, and I'm sure if we asked here in the office, I've spent one day in the Everglades. I've spent one day of my life on an airboat. One day.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Because I was like that too. I had never, ever been to the Everglades till I was like 19 or 20, and I'm 23. You get me? Like now I'm there like every week.
Oh, you're 23. So when do you graduate as a mental health counselor?
In August. Yeah, I'm a second-year student, and then from there, I have the 2 years of a registered internship to be able to actually get my licensure in the state of Florida. So
I'm going to change subjects away from the Gators real quick. So you as a new therapist coming into the field, you're 23. I'm sure you're going to run into some pushback from patients.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're young. You haven't experienced life. What do you know? Etc.
Yeah.
How do you respond to that? What do you think about statements like that?
I feel like I definitely get very like nervous and like scared, because like I always get scared of like potentially offending clients, and I just like that's the last thing I want to do. But I kind of just like reflect back to them, like like you're concerned of like where like this might be going because I'm young and this and that, and then like from there like they kind of just like go into it, and like if they want to know more about like I guess my competency, like I will tell them like I am like studying, I am under the supervision of the therapist, the licensed mental health therapist that we have here, and like everything is still like controlled. And obviously like I always tell them that we have that open communication, that they it's an open air area, that they can always talk to me about something that like that either might have bothered them, or if they prefer something. I really like to play it by client, and then I also like to make sure that they're as comfortable as they can be, even though they will get uncomfortable about talking about certain situations and subjects and stuff like that.
I always find it interesting when a patient is like, "Oh, my therapist said this." I was like, "Well, did you address it with your therapist?" Right? Like, did you talk to them about it? Because if you're in therapy and your therapist says something that offends you, the whole point is, hey, work through that. Why did it offend you? Why are you triggered by what they just said? Because that's something to explore in itself.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Sorry. I agree because I like, that's why I like to set up that, like, how do you call it?
Like a preface. Like,
yeah. Like to make them know that, like, you know, this isn't necessarily something where I'm like, I'm telling you what to do. Like, I'm not, like, this is like your exploration. Like, this is for you, you know? And if there's something that may be an issue or something that you do like and you want to explore more, like, that's always open to talk about. And like, and then to explore, like you said, like to go off of that. Like, what is it about this that might have bothered you? Or what is it about this that you like? And try to, like, I guess, kind of like get to the root of certain things, you know, like, yeah.
Do you think that part of the reason that you got into therapy itself is because you're trying to also figure yourself out?
100%. Like, I think that's something that I like. It's an ongoing like process, and like I think there's been a lot of like growth within myself within the last like few years, like after I graduated high school, because I feel like I've been able to be like more of my authentic self, and that's why, like, it sounds crazy, whatever. That's why, like, I go by Giselle more, because it's like I felt more like that was more like me, you know? Like, I don't know. But
it doesn't sound crazy at all. I mean, you just identify more with Giselle. You feel more comfortable with her versus Edith.
Edith. I think, like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just like in school, like, tampoco that I'm not like that shy, like, nervous girl I am, but like, that's not only me. Like, there's more to, like, I feel like, I don't know, whatever, like, Giselle. It's just so weird to, like say it like that. Whatever, like, she definitely had that, like, nervous part of her, but she also had much more, like, she had the adventurous person, the curious person, the rebellious person, you know, like, and I feel like that's how it is. But growing up, like, I've always struggled with, like, mental health issues, especially, like, anxiety, depression. As a kiddo, I had really, really bad separation anxiety from my mom, really, really bad social anxiety. Like, it was tough, like, the first few years as a kid. Like,
when you're saying as a kid, how old were you during this time?
Just, like, when I started, like, school.
Oh, so
like,
super young. 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, but it, like, went into, like, continuing. Like, I, like, cried every... And I'm sure there are people that, like... There's people that remember. Like, I remember in high school, there was this one guy that always be like... I remember you would cry... He was like, you would cry every single first day of school till like 3rd grade. And then, like, even in, like, this might sound a little pathetic, but, like, even in middle school, like, I just didn't, like, I would literally, like, and my mom tells me this too sometimes. She said that it would hurt her too. Like, she would, you know, drop me off, and I would, like, act like I was yawning so I could, like,
wipe off the tears. But why was it that you were so nervous or anxious going into school?
I don't know. I just never really liked that dynamic. I didn't feel comfortable. I was always just so scared of, like, I guess, embarrassing myself out of, like, saying certain things and stuff like that. Like, so it could be that, a mixture of things. Like, I just didn't feel comfortable.
Isn't that a common theme for a lot of people, though?
I think
like, I think even to this day, I'm going to be 40 this year. I'm getting old. I keep on saying this. I think I'm having a midlife crisis, Gabe. But I keep on saying it because number one, I'm surprised that this time has gone by, because you're like, oh, I'm 23. And I was like, wow, I was 23 like yesterday. 23, I was working at Jackson Memorial, like, so clearly. I remember working pediatric ICU, 23 years old.
Wow.
You're the brand new nurse, you know, you feel good, you're young. And I'm like, damn, what's going on? But where the hell was I going with that? Oh, so, like, there's so many people who get embarrassed or flustered, and they shy away from certain arenas in their life. I always remember the day that I took my mom to a step class in Bally's Total Fitness, because I wanted my mom to work out. So I was like, Mom, I'm going to take a step class with you. Let's go. And we start doing the step class. And within 5 minutes, I looked back and my mom was walking out the door. And when I went outside to follow her, I was like, what's going on? And her response was, no, todo el mundo me está mirando. Everybody's looking at me. And I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not going to stay in there and look like an idiot. And I'm like, Mom, nobody's looking at you. Like, the point is to learn, right?
Yeah.
To learn and to move forward. But I think a lot of people struggle with, like, that social anxiety where they feel like they're the center of attention or everybody's staring at them. And the reality is nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to show my daughter that now. I act like a complete fool, and I just show her, and I'm like, you're never going to see any of these people. None of these people are going to remember you 2 minutes from now. And I think that holds a lot of people back from trying new things.
Yeah.
Is this constant fear of the judgment of others.
Yeah.
How do you help a patient get through something like that, to break out of their shell? And you lived it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say you've broken out of your shell. You're sitting here on a podcast, right?
Oh my God, yeah, 100%. This no way that this would like ever happen if it was like, if I still had that same kind of mindset.
How have you reached this point? How have you progressed to the point where somebody tells you, hey, let's jump on a podcast and speak openly on a platform where it's going to be on the internet forever? Like, how do you do that without feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to say something to embarrass myself. This is crazy. What am I doing?
Yeah, I think that it's just a lot of like, and it might sound cliche, but like a lot of self-exploration, a lot of like really getting to know like the way that I am, and like also learning about anxiety. I did not like know, like growing up, like, I don't know, like at least in my household, Honduran household, like that wasn't really a thing, you know. Anxiety and depression, like it was just kind of like shrugged off, like, oh, like, you know, like get over it, it's just your mind, you can control your mind, blah blah blah. But like learning about it also, like, I think helped me understand, hey, this is actually like a thing. This isn't just you being like crazy or delusional and feeling like your stomach hurts all the time, but you know, like this is something that like happens to people. And like knowing that I'm not alone, I think was a big thing too. Like knowing that like, okay, like this isn't something that I'm the only one that's experiencing, and that it happens. Like, but also I guess, excuse me.
She's just
like,
burped. Just letting you guys know she's gassy.
but it's the buy. It's the buy. Sponsor. The sponsor.
Makes you gassy, guys.
But going back to what I was saying, I think it's just like really getting to know like yourself, getting in touch. Like,
but how do you do that? How does somebody get in touch with themselves? How do they self-explore? Because you're using these terms, and it's like, how do you? What does that mean? What does that mean to find yourself, to do self-exploration?
I think it definitely is a combination of a lot of things. It depends on like the person, but I feel like with me, I noticed that I was practicing mindfulness without even knowing like what mindfulness was, you know, like just kind of like taking a step back and noticing like what's going on, what am I feeling, why am I feeling this, like, and if there's no reason, okay, like let's sit with this, let's see like where this goes. And then also noticing like, you know, like it's gonna be okay, like even though it doesn't feel like it at the moment, like just, you know, go through it, just go, like keep pushing through it. And it's a hard thing, because I mean like mental health illnesses and like just, you know, experiencing things and not really understanding it is really scary, and like it's really scary to address it. But I feel like also talking to people about it was a huge thing that helped me. So again, it's a combination of things. I feel like being mindful with myself, talking about like the fact that I'm experiencing all these things, and talking, not only like talking to just anyone, like talking to someone that you know will like is actually like there, like to understand you, to help you, like, you know, that's not gonna judge you. And then just try and explore like what my interests are. Like not the typical girl likes to do MMA or likes to, like, I don't know, I've always been a little bit like tomboyish, but like whatever, that's not the point. The point is like exploring more of what I like.
But that's exactly what it is. And that's why you were diving into these different things, because you were just trying to say, you know what, I understand the societal norms are pushing me towards this, but I really am gravitating towards MMA. I want to jump off of a plane.
Yes,
I want to play with gators. Like, these are not typical things of a woman, right? And but who cares? This is what I desire, and this is why I'm going to try it. But so many people get locked in to that societal norm, to that societal pressure.
Yeah. I think it's like the lack of like maybe of awareness, or the lack of of being able to talk, like being able to let it out. And that's why I'm like such a huge advocate for therapy and just talking like with friends too. It's not the same thing. It isn't.
Please
but
say it.
Yeah, I don't want people to think like therapy is talking to a friend. Like it's not the same thing. But
Why? Why isn't it the same thing? Like, so we could put it into words so
Yeah.
somebody might be able to understand that.
So I feel like talking to your friends, like it's more advice giving. It's like, oh, you feel this way. Maybe you can try this and that. And like,
No, girl, you should totally leave them.
Yeah. Like, just like, it's just like, it's more advice. And don't get me wrong. I think it's very beneficial for people who, especially people who don't have anyone to talk to, because it's able to like get things off their chest. But then therapy is more of like a, getting to know like, okay, why? Like, why is it that you feel this way? And then also like just being more open-minded. It's more of like guidance in the sense of like being able to know more of like more paths and being able to like see the bigger picture, see it from a different angle. And I think that's really hard for people to do when they're so fixated on something.
Of course. And it's somebody who's asking you objective questions. They're not coming at you because there's a bias or because they have something to gain from the conversation. And sometimes your friends, whether you like it or not, they want to steer you a certain way. They want you to salvage your relationship. They want you to stay with that job because they think it's better for you. Your parents too. They're always going to be somewhat biased because they're going to try to protect you. When a therapist is just going to be raw and real and just objective and try to understand, well, what do you want? And what do you think is the best path? And why is that the best path? Right? And then challenge you when something just, doesn't make sense. You're telling me that you want to become, you want to be an expert with gators, but then you continue to go work at the bank and you're doing nothing related to gators. So what are you going to do to try to get to this end goal of working with gators in a sanctuary or whatever? But then, so there's always these disconnects, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think like you worded it so well because it's like, it's true. Like, it's like exploring. I hate that I keep saying it, but like self-exploration, like that. It really is like that without any bias, without any like direct judgment. Like I just say that because I know that's sometimes like it all varies on the therapist, but you're not supposed to be judgmental. And also having that empathy, I think being able to like see that person understands where you're coming from, maybe not necessarily that they agree with it, but they understand it. I think that's huge because sometimes you can go to a friend and be like, oh, I'm stuck with this toxic ex. I love him, this and that. And then the friend will be like, okay, but why don't you leave him? Like, he's a piece of crap. Like, why this? Why, like, and then like that also like doesn't necessarily like make that person feel too good, like I feel like just being able to like be present with that person and then be able to like really see, okay, what might be certain habits or things that keep you in that, and like how do you feel like it's best to do it. And I think that's just cool because I feel like a lot of the times, like you said, we're told to be doing a lot of things. We don't really like, although there is that freedom there, we don't necessarily always take it because it's like we don't want to upset people or we don't want, like, we live by other people's things too. So it's like, I think therapy is a good outlet as to like being able to like be free and like, yeah, you have that person there, but they're not there to tell you what to do. They're there to like, try to understand you and help you the way that you want that help, like.
No, definitely. You mentioned earlier that you had these moments where you were kind of checking in with yourself and you were recognizing, whoa, this is my mood and why am I feeling this way? I think that's so important. I think so many people don't check in with themselves. People just get anxious and riled up and irritable. Like if you're coming home every day and you're irritable towards your husband, your wife, your kids, whoever, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, and you're not stopping yourself to say, wait, why is my mood this way? Wait, she didn't even really say anything to bother me. She's actually trying to help me right now. And I'm responding in a way that's very negative. Most people don't have that moment to check in unless they go to a therapist and they start telling them to check in with themselves.
Yeah.
I think these are things that were never taught to us to begin with, right? And I think one of the main things that I've been considering is how do we get more mental health first aid or more mental health knowledge into elementary schools, into middle schools, into high schools? Because none of that was discussed.
No.
Where you went to Barbara Goldman, I went to HMO up the street. I mean, you graduated 17 years later, but I graduated in '01. What year did you graduate?
2017.
Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. So you graduated in 2017. So there was never. So here we go. We have a decade and a half later. There was no mention of? Was there any mention of mental health in your classes?
They had little like people come in and like talk about like suicide prevention, and then like more like drug prevention stuff. I know that they did have like a psychology class,
But it was an elective.
Yeah, exactly. It was not something, and I think that is so important. Like again, like
This affects everyone.
oh my god, everyone, like, and I feel like again it's always a spectrum too. Some people don't get as affected, some people get like super severe where it's literally hard to function, and like I've understood that, like that's not the case for me always, but I've been there, you know, where it's like hard, it's so hard to get out of bed, and no one like at least not no one, but the people around me might not understand that, and it's like no, I want to get out of bed, I want to be able to do all things, but like it's just I can't. But going back to the educational system, I think that's so important. Like as a kid, I just thought I was defected, and I think a lot of my issues come from that, you know, like not understanding that, hey, like social anxiety is a thing, depression is a thing, like being bipolar is a thing, borderline person, and you know, like all these things. And like, I think it's hard because it's like people might often like self-diagnose and just kind of go based off of that and like just try to excuse. But then there's some people, like there's people that are actually like really going through these things, and it's like it sucks because then they don't know, and they don't know how they could help themselves, and then they just end up getting stuck in that cycle, and like it's hard, you know. I think being able to educate people, especially at a young age, and then like especially in adolescence, I think that's like a very crucial time.
It is a brutal time. I can at least say for the girls, my daughter is about to be 14. I asked her recently, I said, Eva, what's harder about school? The academic pressure or the social pressure? She didn't blink. She said, Bobby, the social pressure, right? Because you want to be in the in-group, and you want to have your friends, but then there's friction between these two friends, and then one is trying to get like borderline traits almost, right? Because they want to, you better side with me, because if you're not siding with me, you're no longer my friend, you're her friend.
Yeah.
Things like that. But man, those girls need just some guidance. Like your hormones are all over the place. Like they need to check in with themselves. Like, hey, why am I in a bad mood? Oh, this is probably biological right now. Oh, I'm about to menstruate. Like,
like
this could be affecting my mood. I'm not sure about what's going on. How do we teach them to check in with themselves? And I think that goes back to educating them.
Yeah, I think
I'm seeing it firsthand right now, people. I'm seeing it. I'm living it.
Direct exposure.
No, she's doing better. 12 was the hardest age. 13, she's come back around. Like I can honestly say, like, 12 was rough. 12 was rough. But I think it's because she didn't understand herself. Yeah. But I think the more we talked, and the more that I just valued her emotions, but also checked her and set boundaries, and was like, yo, like, too bad, so sad. Like, suck it up, and there's things to do. Obviously, it's not like a severe mental illness or something, but it's definitely hormonal, what she was experiencing. And it was just a lot of angst that she didn't know how to respond to it. But it wasn't until we talked about it that we recognized, oh, Evan, it's probably anxiety that you're feeling. You're so concerned about everybody else around you. You're concerned about people looking at you. You're concerned about embarrassing yourself. You're concerned about saying the wrong thing. Eva, this is anxiety. It's okay. It's okay. Let's work through this. Yeah. But I'm not gonna say most parents, but I recognize that in my daughter, and I'm able to explain it to her and verbalize it to her and communicate with her. So she's going to learn from it. But now how do I disseminate that to the other kids? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a huge thing. Like, I mean, I didn't have that, and I don't want to like, you know, just like bash on my parents.
No,
it's
like, not bashing your parents.
They didn't have that either. Yeah. It's like, and like, it's just exactly like, that's why awareness is so important, but it goes much more than just awareness. It's like applying it. Like, I think that's also a big thing. A lot of people are like, ooh, mental health awareness, blah, blah, blah. But then it's like when they have a friend that is going through these things, they're like, oh, like, I don't want to like deal with her. She's like crazy, or like she has this and that. Or like they could even like use whatever they tell them against them. And you know that like it's a little hard to be able to like do that and actually like, I guess, commit to that awareness. But like for parents, I think that's a huge thing. Like I think being able to get that at that age is like that's where you have that growth, that leeway for growth in being able to be mindful, and then keeping that as a habit and letting it just come naturally. Because I feel like I honestly don't know exactly when I was able to like start that, but I know that like being able to do that not only made me mindful of myself but also of other people. Like I think maybe around 15 years old or so, like I was able to like talk about the way I was feeling, and I think that's when I was able to like talk to different people and then different people talk to me and like talk to me about like what they were going through, and then I was able to like really empathize and really like understand them. But I think that's like it's just really important for people to be able to like do that with themselves before anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe there are a lot of people that are able to like, you know, empathize with someone else, but then when they look at themselves they just hate or they just like bash on themselves. And it's like I think being able to know that skill, to be able to apply it to yourselves, be able to be mindful is just so important, especially at that age. Like, I know that age was one of like my worst like times. I was, and like you said, like it might not be like necessarily that they have this mental illness, but it could be like that they're experiencing a lot of like symptoms. It could be biological. It could be like something that happened, like a trauma, something that happened that set it off. Like, it could be a lot of things, but I think just being aware of like what you are feeling, experiencing does like all the difference.
How important are the different hobbies that you engage in your mental health?
So important. So important. I think, okay, hobbies, this is another thing that I think is also a misconception. Like a lot of people think hobbies are going to save me or hobbies are going to like fix me. It's like I don't think that there's anything specifically that could fix someone. There's definitely a lot of things that they can do to help cope with them. And I think therapy is also like, such a big part of being able to like really get to the root of it.
Mm-hmm.
And hobbies are really good at helping you cope with things too. So me, I don't know, I want to like explore so many things. Like I love to paint, but I get impatient with myself. And
because
sketch.
painting is something where you have to really sit. I saw there was a video of you oil painting.
I think
it was acrylic.
It was acrylic paint,
but still, even acrylic, it dries a lot faster than oil, obviously. But still, painting is something that is very methodical and very slow, and you really have to sit with yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No. 100%. And like sometimes I get like I don't like perfectionist,
of course,
about it, and like that's when I get like a little frustrated. But whatever. Oh my god, I keep doing that. Sorry, but okay. I sometimes paint, sketch. I used to do dance, like not super like well because we weren't able to afford a actual studio growing up. But like I've always like kind of danced. Like I used to do ballet. Then would go into like not class wise, but like at parties and really like practices like bachata, merengue.
What are your hobbies right
hip-hop. Now? Right now it's mainly mixed martial arts. I started it almost a year ago, and I wish I got into it earlier.
Why do you think you would have fought professionally, or you would have wanted to fight?
Potentially. Like even now I question it because I'm like that's so I don't know. I want to put this hobby at use, but obviously not in like a really messed up way.
Do you watch UFC?
Occasionally. I'm not super into it.
There's a huge fight that's happening this weekend.
Yeah.
There's Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. I've been following Alexa Grasso. She's Mexican. Shevchenko is... I don't want to just say she's Russian. I'm not even sure where she's from, actually. But she's... sorry?
What's her name?
Valentina Shevchenko. Okay. She's nasty. She has 2 guns tattooed at her waist. This lady will beat my ass. She will beat my ass, and I have no problem saying it. If you watch this lady hit mitts like while she's training, and then after she's done, she dances. She does little twirling movements, and she's another dancer too. Yeah. She speaks like 7 languages. Sometimes after her post-fight interview, she starts speaking English, Russian, Mandarin, Spanish, Portuguese, and I'm just like,
that's impressive.
She's a very eccentric person. Like I follow her on Instagram. I don't think she can be beat, right? But then we have this woman named Alexa Grasso who I've been watching. Beautiful. She's probably the prettiest. They're actually both attractive, to be honest with you. but probably one of the most attractive UFC fighters, female fighters. Watch, I'm gonna put her up real quick. Kyrgyzstan, you see? It's Kyrgyzstan, but this lady's everywhere. Let's see, there you go.
There you go.
So this is Alexa Grasso. I've been watching her. Hold on. This is Alexa Grasso. I've been watching her for probably 6 years. I've seen her since she was nothing, not ranked or anything. And this is her first title shot after I don't know how many years. And I'm concerned about her. You know what's weird? I guess I'm fangirling a little bit because I've been thinking about her this week and I'm just wondering like what she's feeling. Because this is like her first shot. The Mexican people really love her. Like just awesome. Super, very happy, very humble, well-spoken, cares about people. But she's also a warrior. But she's going up against the giant right now. And all I'm thinking is like, I hope my girl doesn't get knocked out. Like I don't
please.
Like I want her to last 5 rounds. I hope that she throws a head kick and somehow wins. I don't think so. What are the odds? Do you know what the odds are? She's probably plus 500 or something, which means that she's a heavy underdog. Like if you bet $1, you get. If you bet $1, you win 5.
A lot of money. Yeah.
But I guess I don't even know where I'm getting at with this, but fighting is a crazy sport.
It is. Like you really have to like, especially like MMA. I mean, martial arts in general, but
yeah.
Man, like you're gonna get like.
Yeah, you don't. Are you gonna get kicked in the face, or do you have
elbows, knees.
Do you have a jiu-jitsu expert that's gonna try to choke you out or break your leg or break your arm? Do you have somebody who's like a professional, like a kickboxer, or somebody who's professional taekwondo?
Knock you out. I
Dude,
know.
There's
so many things,
and there's so many angles coming at you. But yeah, that's a huge fight that's happening this weekend, Saturday night, and I'm really excited.
Hyped.
I'm so like, it's weird to be following just this one fighter who I'm gonna be very real. I probably follow her because she has a cute face and just somebody who you gravitate towards. But then I started learning her backstory.
Yeah.
And I've seen her year after year going up against hard challengers and just stepping up and stepping up and stepping up. And then seeing her now, she's come to this road where, wow, she has a title shot, but she's going up against a champion who beats everybody's ass. So it's like, oh, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
I really hope that you win, but I don't think so. Prove me wrong, Alexa.
Hopefully.
I'm rooting for you, but no, I'm rooting for you, Alexa. Damn it.
There you
like
go.
I'm fucking rooting for you. I want you to win.
Let's go, Alexa.
Sorry, I just went off on a tangent real quick.
No, you're good. I mean, I think that like brings a really cool like topic too is like female fighters. You know, like I at my fighting gym, there's not that many females, but
What fighting gym do you go to?
Freestyle Fighting Academy. It's in front of FIU.
It's FFA?
FFA.
Okay.
Pretty live. I love FFA.
I actually recently talked to, I messaged them at Goat Shed. Have you seen Goat Shed Academy?
I've heard of it.
They're maniacs.
Yeah?
They're maniacs. They don't believe in bowing. There's no sensei. There's no, like, it's just
straight
raw.
up.
These guys are warriors. I'm gonna
straight up war.
So I just need a little bit of humbling in my life. So I think I'm just gonna go over there, get my ass beat for 1 day or 2, and then I'll be like, all right, guys, thanks.
It happens.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your back aching. But no, I mean, like, I think it could definitely be humbling because, like, I mean, tampoco that I went in thinking, oh my God, I'm like this shit, you know, like, but I'm like, you know, I grew up around guys. I've always been like really like tough skin. Like I feel like a high pain tolerance, but you know, man, like these people really know how to fight. And, you know, we go up ranks and stuff like that. And like, I freaking love it. Like, I love it. Like,
so do you spar?
I do spar, yeah. We'll do jujitsu, like we'll roll, and then we'll also like spar, kind of like.
Is it boxing or kickboxing?
It's kickboxing. It's like a little bit. Sometimes we do MMA sparring too, so it's like ground and pound. We just obviously we don't like go at it, but like we do takedowns, we do a little bit of everything.
But you've gotten punched in the face.
Yeah, several times, several times. But at the same time, I kind of like. It sounds crazy, but I kind of love it because I'm like, yeah, like it makes me tough. Like, your eyes went like.
No, that's awesome.
But like
I'm with it. I actually wish I would have gotten into fighting much younger.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I would ask my mom, "Can you put me in taekwondo?" No. Can I do this? No. Baseball. That's it. Like that's all you can play. Can I play football? No, you can't. Like,
no. Like my mom hates that. She hates that I'm in the sport. Like she Like, I think she might low-key, like, or prefer the Gators than this, because she knows that I've always, like, loved Gators. I mean, I've asked her in the past, like, I want to do boxing. Like, because originally it was just, like, boxing that I wanted to do. And, like, I have done, like, some mitt work with, like, a coach I had in the past. But then I was like, no, I really want to, get into it. I want to get into, like, the nitty-gritty, like, really get it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, no, it was, like, it's great. And also, like, I think what is, like, so funny, but I get it, is like sometimes like I'll tap certain like guys out and they'll get so like butthurt. Some people are like really respectful.
They get frustrated. So
they get like butthurt. That they got tapped out by a female, and it's like I get it, because it's like they might have this like.
But you're not like a little frail girl. You're a strong woman, like,
yeah.
Right?
But there's like other girls that are smaller than me. I mean, they're still fit, but like they'll also be tapping out big guys and stuff like. Again, like my friend Ayana that got me the job, like she's shorter than me. She's like thinner, but she's fit. But like she's tapped out like guys like bigger than you and stuff. And it's like we're still beginning, and there's still a lot of like growth into like honestly, it's a journey. Like martial arts is a journey. But like I don't know, like I think there's been moments like that too, like where it's like you tap someone out or whatever, and then like they might get like a little like butthurt and stuff.
But do you feel like they try to retaliate and get you on the next one, or they let it go?
No, I feel like typically like I haven't had like maybe like let's say if it's in the same round that we're doing it, the same maybe like 5 minutes that we're rolling or whatever. Like they'll like you'll feel like the extra like but like the next time I roll at them, they won't like.
Of course.
They'll just try like the way that they try. But again, it all goes back to like the experience and like how long. Like a lot of the times, like I've only been doing mixed martial arts since it's almost a year, since like last April, and like there'll be newer people coming in, and like that's usually the people that I'll like tap out, and it won't usually be like the blue belts and like the higher ranks. But
I forced my daughter to do BJJ for a little while.
Yeah, did she like it?
She hated it, but I made her keep going because she needed. Actually, that was when she was 12.
Yeah,
she needed the humbling a little bit. She did. She at first, because then I was like, oh whatever, I'm gonna jump in the class too. So I decided I got my gi. I was a white belt, and when it was open mat, I would roll with my daughter,
nice.
And I would start choking her out. She didn't want to tap.
No, that's so bad. That's so bad.
That's how her ego was, and I would just start cranking her, and I'm like, Eva, I'm not gonna let go until you tap.
Oh my God.
But that's how strong like her personality is.
She was like, no.
So prideful. And I'm like, Eva, this is survival right now. So you need to let go of your ego, or your dad's about to choke you out. And this is not, for those of you wondering, this is not child abuse. This was under controlled environment. So, DCF, don't come at me. DCF. But it was cool because after a while, then she realized like, we tap, we start again.
Yeah.
Drop your ego, humble yourself for a second. You got beat.
Yeah.
And we go again.
Exactly. No. It's like it's a process.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's so cool. Like I feel like martial arts is so much like bigger than like just like fighting and stuff. I feel like there's a mindset. There's like, again, it's a journey. Like it's amazing. Like I think it's really cool to be able to like learn, and also for like us women, like it's I think really important to be able to know how to defend yourself. Like, there could be certain situations, I mean for anyone really, but women specifically, just because like, man, sometimes like recently this weekend I went to a gas station and I walked out like by myself, and it wasn't anything huge, but like I had some guys like kind of following me, and I'm already on high alert because I'm like, man, like what the heck, man, and they were hitting on me already. So it's like,
living life as a woman is so different than living life as a man.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to deal with a lot, You do.
No, we do.
You got to deal with a lot.
Yeah, and like that's that's just one of the things. Like the whole menstrual cycle thing. It's not fun either. It's really not. Like it's more than just like the whole like cramps. It's like bloating, and sometimes like man, like it's also like the mood swings. Oh my God, it's so bad. So whatever. Bad. Like
she just went off on a tangent here.
Did?
She was like,
because I'm thinking back and I'm like, oh, like I remember like. All like I don't know, there'll be days where I literally almost faint. Like it sounds like exagerado, But I promise you, like, I am like pale. I'm having cold sweats. I'm dying of cramps. I can't find a position like that feels okay enough. Like, it's horrible.
I'm so happy I'm a man right now. I am so happy I'm a
No,
man.
I mean, sometimes I love being a woman, but sometimes I'm like, man, I want to be a guy. Like, at least for a
so
day.
much easier.
I want to see how it is.
It
you
is
know,
so
like-
much easier. I think, at least. I mean, you guys have power. You do. You
Thanks.
do have power in many circumstances. Ultimately, you are the gatekeeper and the deciding factor as to whether or not you allow a man to join you in any form or way, not just sexually, like just your company, period. Because I'm sure you get approached by a lot more guys than I get approached by women. I can guarantee you that.
Some days. Some days.
Oh, really? Depends on how. But going back to what you said earlier, which I think is so important, is the fact that Gabe is loving this right now. Yeah. It's true. You mentioned like how important MMA is, and I think a lot of coaches are missing the boat. And this goes, I've seen soccer coaches, baseball coaches, football coaches. Like, listen, if you are a coach and you're listening to this right now, chances are the players that you're coaching are not going to make it to the pros. The chances are, and I'm not trying to crush anybody's dreams, this is statistically speaking, 99.9% of these people aren't going to make it to the pros. Some of them, a small percentage, might make it to college. But the bigger learning lessons that occur on a field are not about winning or losing or improving your skill sets. It's conflict resolution, it's communication, it's teamwork, it's overcoming resilience or showing being resilient.
Yeah. The mindset.
It's all this. It's all
so
so
much.
mental, and I see it. And I'm sorry, Eva, that I keep talking about you, but apparently you're a big part of my life. Yeah, apparently. So I see it on the soccer field. They get 2 goals scored on them in soccer, and the girls start to each other. There's friction, and I have to yell at them from the sideline. Hey, like stop blaming it on each other. Like communicate, work through it, and move forward. But no, like when they start
Yeah.
losing, woo.
No, I see it with my family, and my family is a huge soccer like family. I love them to death. But yeah, no, we're really like, I think that's like one of the biggest things why we get so competitive. Like, I feel like they're competitive by nature, and then you put a sport where they like are super passionate about. It's like, I see that, yeah. But like the mindset is just such a big thing. Like, I completely agree with you, like 100%, like with that, like I think, and that's also really cool about FFA. I feel like the coaches, like I have like 3 different coaches, but like I usually go to like the 6 a.m. classes, and then I go in the afternoon as well. And I have like in the morning I have my coach Che. He will sometimes like meditate after, and like, you know, he'll like give like a speech about like how important it is to have like certain mindsets and stuff like that. And I think that's so cool that we're able like to have that. But like you said, like not everyone is like that. Not a lot of people, like not a lot of coaches are like see the extra mile, like the mental part.
I think it just has to be. I think it comes if you realize it, if you recognize it, it's part of it. It's part of coaching.
Yeah.
That you have the ability. You have such a strong platform that you're
influence.
to influence people. And I don't know if everybody sees that. And sometimes I just get frustrated because I'm on the sideline. I'm like, this is a huge teaching moment. This whole thing that just happened on the field is a huge moment to slow everybody down and talk through it and then disperse and go again.
Being mindful.
It
all goes back to
Dude,
that. My goodness.
I coached from when and I coached when they were younger, but now I'm watching her and I'm like, I need to be at least an assistant coach. But it's hard because since I'm a parent, like it's always weird. I don't even know how to approach the coach. I'm not trying to step on his toes.
Yeah.
I just see moments where, damn, they need that life lesson in this, and it's not like a long lecture. It's just, hey, let's look at what's going on. Let's dissect it. Let's talk about it. Let's learn from it. All right, cool. Let's go back to the sport.
Yeah. I think that's so important that like getting those little details like that do all the difference. Like, you know, being like, okay, this could apply to this, you know, like this could apply to this. Like small little things, just pointing it out can do all the difference. It's kind of like jujitsu. Like, you know, like you're at one angle, it's hard to be able to sweep that person and get them in a submission. But just a few inches, like, does all the difference to be able to like do that like perfectly. And like I like that they're able to like in at FFA, my coaches that I have, like they're able to like show me small details like that. But again, it all goes back to like being able to apply it to different things and stuff like coaching in soccer. Like, I think it's like so big too. Like, I don't know, I've seen it too. My brother, I've seen him like, you know, go through different soccer coaches, and like, man, he had a really, really like nasty mean one, and I don't think he got much from that, but the next coach he had like was much better, much more detail oriented, and like he was able to see like the difference. And I think that was also like really like cool for him to be able to like, I guess, learn more and also see like different stuff. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah, like I think coaching is such a big thing because it's guidance. You know, it's guidance. It's being able to learn, and like I think it's really cool when like the, you know, like there's certain experiences that you might learn from coaching, and then you're able to like apply it to other people. You know what I mean? What I mean is like,
and you're able to apply to just life in general.
Yeah, but like for example, like let's say if something my coach points something out for me, and then like I continue to like work on that. The next time I see someone else might like do the same kind of like error, I point it out to them, and then like so on. You know, like you're able to help people through like what someone else teaches you.
How important has it been for you to your mental health to just have these different experiences and these different hobbies and immerse yourself in different environments? Because you're doing a lot of very different things, right?
Like aerial silks. I don't know. I think
I saw that actually. Yeah, you're doing acro yoga.
Yeah.
So you're doing acro yoga. You're painting. You're skydiving. You're doing MMA. You're playing with gators. You're doing therapy, and then you're still a student, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so important. Again, I think it all goes back to like being able to get to know yourself better and being able to express yourself. Not a lot of people are able to do that. But for me, like, honestly, like, it's good to like maintain like that kind of like, I don't know how to say it, like that routine, and maybe not always have the same routine. I think changing it up is really good too. Like I didn't always do like, I want to get into sky. Like I've skydived before, and I'm just saving up, but like I want to get like my like
Master
skydiving
certified.
like my certification and stuff like that, so I can skydive anywhere. But whatever. Point is like, it helps me and my mental health greatly. Again, I don't think that's the only thing that helps. Like Juan, one of my supervisors, the one that, you know.
Shout out to Dr. Lesende.
Shout out to Dr. Lesende. He explains it kind of like a prescription. You know, like being able to like, at least for me, I mainly deal with depression. You know, I take my medication, but I also go to therapy, and then I also have a bunch of interests and hobbies that I feel like maintain that. And then I also have my family and loved ones. You know, like I know I need this in order for me to continue to be able to love and accept myself. And I don't want to say I'm at that point yet. I definitely have accepted myself way more, because I mean, not to get super deep, but like I used to really be really like, I really hated myself. I was not anywhere close to where I am now. And I've seen that. And I've seen that it's been through a combination of all of these things.
Where do you think that came from? That self-hatred? Like that self...
I think just like, I don't know. I mean, a lot, maybe like different experiences that I had growing up, and like, just being tough on myself, seeing other people be tough on themselves, not having it be or at least feel like it was a safe place for me to like express the way I felt. Like, I think it's been like a combination of a lot of things, and also just like maybe maladaptive coping ways as well, just kind of like isolating, keeping it to myself, not doing anything about it. Like, but also I didn't know better, you know, like that's why it's such a big thing. But I think it was a lot of things, a combination of a lot of things that might have added to that, a lot of different influences as well. Like, obviously no one was telling me like I hate you or whatever. Like, I mean, it wasn't like anything like that, but like just seeing like different people going through different experiences, and it's just a combination of a lot of things. But I think maybe it just kind of came from being, I think, just young and not understanding, and it being all confusing. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think it was just hard. It was just really hard. And I can't tell you, I don't think I can tell you exactly what drove me to hate myself at that time. And it was for a good while, I would say. But I can't tell you the way that I was able to try to work out of it, you know, which is like through a combination of all these things. Like I really was not like I would give up on myself really easily as a teenager. I didn't have all these hobbies. Like not until like I feel like I also had like the freedom to be able to do that. Now I make my own money and I'm able to like
make
do
those
certain
decisions.
things. Yeah, like these hobbies are, you know, they're
Yeah, they're
expensive
costly,
and
of course.
tampoco that I make a lot of money. Like I mean, I make a good amount to like sustain myself and to be able to like to be able to do these hobbies, but I prioritize it, you know, like because I know like I love this, I want to grow more in this makes me feel this way, and like it helps, so I'm gonna keep doing this even though it's, you know,
it's hard,
expensive, but like,
no, it's not only expensive, but sometimes it's hard because when you're depressed, I just drew this little diagram that I used to draw for a lot of patients because of what you said, that you used to try to that you would isolate a lot. And so what I would tell people is like how important social engagement is, as not as the one solution, just like the medications aren't the ones. There is not one silver bullet to heal from severe depression or anxiety, right?
Exactly.
It's a combination of things. And 100%. So I used to
100%.
draw this diagram that says isolation, and then has the little arrow, and then depression, and a little arrow. So it's a cycle, right? From isolation to depression. Depression leads to further isolation.
100%.
And what I would tell people is that sometimes you can't control the fact that you're depressed, right? But you can definitely control the isolation part. But that's the part that requires like planning, number one. And it requires you to have at least, it requires action too, right?
And some motivation, which is hard. Like when you're so depressed and you feel like you have no motivation, it's really hard to get out of that. But again, it goes back to like the little things that you could hold on to, and like that builds up, and then eventually you have some motivation, and eventually you're able to get that energy.
So when no, I was gonna say you don't like these mics, right?
I want to beat this mic.
You see, that was a 1, 2, and a 5. So the see, you're beating up the mics, and I keep on losing my track. No, it's okay. How were you able to? Yeah, how were you able to find that motivation when you were finding yourself isolated, right? Because I think that's the part that a lot of people struggle with. They're depressed, they start to isolate, and all of a sudden you realize, like, I know I need to do something to get out, but there is no spark, there is no change. You can't find the energy. There's no desire.
Yeah.
So where does that spark come from to just, to I guess strike that match so you can move forward?
Yeah, I think that was really difficult, and I'm sorry I keep going back to like, well, it's a combination thing.
No, it's okay.
But I feel like honestly, I feel like at that point, I feel like I didn't have any sort of spark until around like the age of 15 or so. I think finding meaning in things, finding meaning in life, but like, how do you find meaning in lives? Like I think looking around of like what I have and how fortunate I am to have certain things, and like the people that I love, like my family, like I am super family oriented, extremely. Like I will do anything for my family, and I think that being able to see that how much they love me and how much they like want me around is like was such a big thing for me. I was like, man, like I can't give up on myself. They're not giving up on me. And like I used to be a lot more religious. That was another thing that I definitely feel like helped me out of that, or like not out of it, but like find that motivation, being able to like continue to learn. And then also like having those moments of mindfulness. I think learning about myself was like, whoa, I could learn more. This isn't just it. And then like being able to go through experiences and bounce back. I feel like the minute I saw that, I was like feeding off of it. I'm like, I can bounce back. I can continue to be resilient.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they avoid those failures so much, but sometimes we need those failures, and then we overcome them, and then it builds us up. I just posted that the other day. It was I think so many people post, like, let's say if you hitting mitts, you're posting yourself with all these combinations. And I posted like after I had just finished hitting mitts with Cam. Cam was just on here, Cam Adams. And awesome guy, by the way. He's a boxing coach. He's here local. Survived. He died on the Venetian Causeway, came back to life. He was resuscitated. and he was never supposed to walk, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
Yeah, what a super cool guy, very positive, and it was really cool to have him. But anyhow, hitting mitts with Cam, and I just posted like the after effect. You're gassed, took a knee, right? And that's life.
Handshakes a little bit.
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. You're just out of
Yeah.
it. You're emotionally, physically, spiritually exhausted. You feel like there's nothing else, and it's like those are the moments that build you up.
Mm-hmm.
Not only while you're working out or doing jiu-jitsu or boxing or anything, like those moments that you take yourself to that limit, to that level, that's what's going to make you stronger. So we shouldn't push that away. We have to recognize that these failures actually strengthen us.
Yeah.
If we learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
If we learn from them.
Exactly. If I feel like some people like might be in some sort of denial and just don't learn from it. Or
Why
they
do you
just-
think it's because they just point their finger outward? Why don't people learn from their failures or their mistakes?
I feel like it depends on the person, but some people might just they don't want to face the reality, or they don't want to address it, or they're like they love the toxicity that comes with it because it's much more interesting than being able to be more at peace for them, you know? But like at what cost? Because I get it. I could be like I
Yeah.
could be like that too, you know? Like there's a lot of things that I'm like, man, why don't I learn it? Like, come on. Like you've done this and this so many times and you have gotten to this point where
Why?
you
Give me an
feel
example.
horrible.
So give me an example. So I can understand. No, for real.
Okay, toxic men.
Okay. All right.
Like I don't know why I keep going into like, you know, they'll be
Because it's fun. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It's fun and it's exciting. It's emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there's a lot going on
It's
there.
a rush.
It's
a
a
roller
huge
coaster.
rush and it's a roller coaster. So you're getting dopamine hits.
Yeah.
And there's ups and then you plummet down. All of a sudden, the next day, it's like, oh shit, this is great again.
Yeah.
So it's.
But
that's
you know,
why.
you eventually have to get off that roller coaster, you know, like. But no, like for example, yeah, like I've had like situationships and stuff. With
This is a
men.
new word, by the way. This is the
Yeah,
second person who
it
came
is.
in saying situation.
Because-
We should just call them hookups, all right? It's not situationships.
I think I don't know. It's like okay, I say situationships because I have never been in a relationship where it's like it's set in stone where this is my boyfriend and he's been around my family. A lot of the time it's been like it gets serious. We are committed to each other. We're doing everything in a relationship. Like
There's
I'll
no
meet
title.
their parents. There's no title. Like there's no title.
Oh,
So,
you need to,
like,
girl. Can I be? See, let me be. I'm not old enough. Wait, am I old enough to be your dad? I could have been 17. Yeah,
could've
I
been.
could have been. Yeah, sure. Damn, that's terrible. That's terrible. Yeah, but if I was talking to my daughter, I'll be like, "You're not setting boundaries, right?
That is
Or you're
true.
not just saying, "Hey, like, this is what I want," and if you're not willing to give me that, then you kind of have to draw the line, right?
I think like I end up being like, this is what I want, and then like they'll be like, yeah, and then like I'm just like, okay, but like I want it. I guess in my head I want it so badly. I'm willing to go through like
Just
the crap
mhm.
like that comes with it, and then it's like I end up realizing, damn, like no, it's not worth it. Like it's not worth all this crap that I'm going through, and it's not all of the men that I've been with have been that specifically. There's been some, you know, some people that have been, you know, really good with me, and like things just didn't work out. But a lot of the times that wasn't the case. But
Were those the ones that were easier to let go of?
I think yes. The reason why is because I had a reason to be like, screw that. Like hell no. Like like all this stuff happened, and like you went through all this pain. Like you don't want to go back to that. You don't want that. But the ones that were good, which again weren't that many, it was like, man, it was good. It was really good. Like why didn't it work out? Why this? Why that? And I like stay hooked on to that, I feel. But I feel like I guess it might just go back to like maybe not necessarily 100% knowing self-worth. And again, like I said, it's a process. I don't think I completely love myself, and I know that I can get there because I got out of hating myself. That's why I know I'm like I can get there. But I need to continue to work on it. I need to continue to do things that I know make me grow as a person, make me accept myself, make me be able to love myself. And I think once I feel like I have that, like, and I think it could always grow. There's always room for improvement. But I feel like once I have enough of it, I feel like I'll be able to be more, like, have those boundaries really set in stone, really, like, have them there and be like, look, this is what I want. If you can't give it to me, bye. I could probably find it in someone else. I definitely can find it in someone else that can give it to me, you know? And I feel like that's something I often, like, you know, don't, like, I kind of overlook, or, like, and sometimes I choose to. I notice it. You know, I'm like, you just love this toxic stuff. Like, you love this crap. Like, but then it, like, I always say this, que yo necesito romperme los dientes to learn. At least with, like, you know, like, what for the people that don't understand Spanish, like, I need to break my teeth to be able to, like, I need to, like, break my jaw, bro. I need to bust my jaw to be able to, like, learn from it. Like, and I've seen that with men, and, like, a lot of my close friends know, like, the crazy stuff that, like, there's, like, I could name you, like, 2 things, and I'm not gonna get into it because, like, but, like, there's, like, there's, like, 2 main situations. There's other ones too, but, like, they're, like, straight out of a movie. They're like, no way. Like, I've literally had people say, like, shut up, you're lying to me. I'm like, I'm not lying. Like, this actually happened. I wish I was lying, because then I would have saved myself all that, like, relationship trauma or whatever you want to call it. Like, you know, like, I wish I was lying. I wouldn't have gone through all that crap. I wouldn't have, like certain issues that I have.
The more she talks about this, I want to ask her why, but then I feel like, no, it's okay.
Afterwards.
Too bad, guys. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, guys. Just know that it was a complete... Can we curse?
Yeah, of course.
Shit show.
A complete shit show.
Shit shows, all right?
So how hard is dating? So you said you're 23. How hard is dating right now?
Oh my God.
Why?
I didn't even let you finish.
No.
I said, oh my God. It's like nearly impossible, especially in Miami, man.
Why? But why? I hear so many. So I dated for a while. Obviously I have a girlfriend now, but, like, why? I met so many good people. I love Bumble. I was a little addicted. Swiping was great. Let me tell you, for me, dates are fun. First dates are fun. But I met a lot of really solid women, and whenever somebody says, "Oh, there's no good women out there," I'm like, actually, there's a lot of good, genuine people. Whether or not there wasn't chemistry, that's different.
Yeah.
But I would feel like I would meet, like, really smart, attractive, educated go-getters. I met a lot of women that were, I don't know, they had a lot of great qualities. But then I hear people say, no, it's horrible out there. So what's your opinion?
I think it depends. Like, it depends on, like...
No, I'm sorry. Let me interrupt.
No, you're good.
I met a lot of wackos, too. I met a couple that I just was like, yo, check, please. I am out. I got to go. I did get catfish once.
Ooh.
That's not cool. To all of you, to anybody out there catfishing people, not cool, man.
Don't do it.
I'm a super nice guy, and I just said, let's go sit at the bar. I watched, there was a Lakers game playing, and I asked her
ate your wings, drank a beer.
I ordered 1 beer, and I think I ordered an appetizer, and I said, hey, I gotta go home. Have a great night. I was like, this is so not cool, man. This is not. And I couldn't even tell her, like, yo, come on.
Yeah, like,
are
you serious?
Come on. Like, this wasn't even you. I kept on looking back at the picture. I was like, this is
like, that's not.
But I learned my lesson, and after that, I always FaceTimed.
Good.
Always.
You see, learn from experience.
That's called a screening call. So if you get a FaceTime from a guy that you've only sent pictures to, has only met you online, he's just making sure. He's a smart man. That's a keeper, probably.
I think people should FaceTime before meeting up with
Why not?
anyone.
We have technology to help you. It'll save you gas and time.
Time, potentially, like, a kidnap. Like,
potentially kidnapping.
Like, do it, please. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's that is so important. Like, you have to make sure that you're meeting with this person. That person is a person that they say they are. Like, come on, like. But in regards to dating,
sorry.
No, you're good. There's definitely a lot of people out there that are not the best to date, and there are some people that are out there that, like, are keepers, you know? I think it's hard because it's like, at what point of their life do you find them? Are they emotionally available? Like, and I feel like, oh my God, I feel like
You're terrible at this podcasting.
I know,
you keep on just beating up the mic.
I have beef with that mic, man. Come on, man. I feel like a rapper. But I feel like at least in my pool of men, like men in their 20s in Miami, like I think Miami I love and I hate it. I was telling him earlier, like there's so many like cool things. It's culturally diverse, like you're close to the beach, the Everglades, the city, whatever, like. But then you also have like that lifestyle of like partying and drinking and doing all these things and whatever, and like, you know, like the clout and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people tend to get like caught up in that, like that mindset. I think, is it Miami like number 2 or something in like cheating? I think Orlando's number 1. Like,
I mean, who does the survey?
I don't know, whatever. Like, but like I think that's a big issue is cheating. I feel like people get tempted because there's so much like cool gold looking things, but like in reality, like when you get it, it's like crap, you know, it's fake. Like, and I think like
My friend Stanley Mwendar, he was from Kenya and he was with me in the army, and in his accent, I wish I could do his accent, I can't, but I'll never forget, he looked at me one day and we were talking about, we were 18 years old and he was older, he was like 30 and he was in boot camp with us, and I remember he told me, Mesa, all that glitters is not gold. And I remember just like,
I love that.
And it was so true because I've met a lot of beautiful, beautiful women who have zero substance, nothing, like
empty. Yeah, and same with men. Yeah. There's been a few guys that I'm like, you know, maybe I won't like invest myself in, but like I'll be like, oh, they're cute, little crush, and then I'm like,
yeah, you meet them and it's not
much.
It's
like,
nothing there.
No, yeah. So I think that's a big thing. Honestly, what I feel like in my view is like the people who might be in the specific pool of people that you're looking for, like let's say mine is like males within like their 20s or so, you know, like I think there's like rare cases where they're like genuinely really good, emotionally available, like they check off the boxes that would make like a good partner. But it also depends. Do you click with that person?
Yeah, is there chemistry?
Do you get along? Well, yeah. Do they like you? Do you like them? How much is it? Like, you know, like I think that's another thing. So that's why I say it's hard, because it's like it's not that they're not out there. It's just like, are you into them? Are they into you? I've had some guys that are just so sweet, like, and for some reason, like I always end up thinking, why don't I like them? Like, come on, why don't I like them? Like,
because you want that charge.
Oh my
you
God.
Want that.
Unfortunately, like for some reason, I don't know, I'm drawn to like that, and like
we'll work on it.
I don't know.
We'll
work. It's a work in progress.
That's
like
fine.
We'll see.
That's fine. You got time. Time is on your side.
Time's on my side, so we'll just keep going with it. But I feel like it's hard to like be able to find what you want in a person, and to be able to like make sure that you know you get along well, and that there's all these other little factors. And again, I think Miami just doesn't help when like if their head could be turned really easily.
But
like,
I think that exists
so
anywhere
there.
In any big city.
It does. I think it's
exist.
just more here. I feel something like a little bit like I don't know, because like there's just more like, you know, we're known to be the sexiest place in the world or whatever. So there are a lot of beautiful people here, and a lot of like people that are out there, and like, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's more like I guess like I don't know. I've seen it a lot with people, not just guys, but with people here in Miami. That's like cheating is something that's done so often. Like it's kind of normal, and that doesn't make it right, but it's just like, oh, whatever, like, yeah, like I've cheated on this person, and I'm just like man, like that sucks. And like, you know, it's just like I've been like cheated on too, and it's like, yeah, like, it sucks because it's just like, again, this like situation with the people. But is it impossible? No, I don't think it's impossible. I just think like people have to be mature about it and really like commit, you know, or like just and if you guys want open relationships, like just be like communicate.
I was just gonna go there before you started talking about. I was like, the main thing is communicating.
Communication.
Like, hey, I'm thinking that this relationship, or I'm attracted to this other person, but I think people, number one, they're scared to have that conversation, really right? Scared. Because they want both worlds. They want to be able to be in the relationship, have the comfort, the care, the stability of the relationship, but then do their own thing.
Yeah.
Hey, if you communicate it and that works for you, great.
Yeah.
Like, if that's your own moral compass, that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you're not giving that other person, if you're not priving that other person to that information, then you're just making a selfish decision.
Yeah. I agree. I think it all comes back to communication. And like that goes for, I feel like, any friendship, relationship, but mainly relationships, just because it's like there are boundaries. There's like rules and stuff and like relationships, you know, like expectations. And like that's another thing. A lot of people, and I, including myself, like will get like, you know, let down and heartbroken when that person doesn't like meet the expectations that they have. But at the end of the day, like it just depends on like if you're willing to be with that person, you know, regardless of, but like at what cost, you know, like is there something that outweighs it, whatever. But I think
there's always, listen, to me, there's always conditions. There's not this thing about unconditional love. Like I don't even know. It definitely exists maybe with your kids. But I can't say unconditional love exists with a partner, because there's always conditions to the love. There's not that you're placing an expectation on them unless you're communicating that expectation and they're not meeting it. And you know, and that expectation is extremely valuable to you. Like, are you willing to sacrifice that expectation? And again, to what cost?
Exactly.
If it's detrimental to you and the way that you're perceiving life and your mood and your emotions, then it's probably not worth it. If it's something you say, well, you know, I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of this because I'm getting this, this, and this. That's a different scenario.
100%. I like literally like that's. I think that is so important because like, but then some people get caught up in like, oh, but it is worth it because I feel like the good outweighs the bad. But it's like I think they are so caught up with the idea of being with this person that they ignore how much pain it's really causing until they maybe get out of that. Then they're like, oh.
Yeah, what was I doing?
Yeah, like what was I thinking? Oh, wow. Like I really questioned my self-worth. I really changed my entire life for this person, you know, like
I think one of the worst relationships you could be in is one that one person is giving all the effort and that person doesn't feel like they're valued.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been there. And it's like, bro, I'm trying so hard. I'm really working through this. And I want to do it for all the right reasons. And I'm going to stick in there. And I realized years later, like, what the hell were you doing, bro?
Yeah.
Like, if I could go back in time, I would shake young Adrian and be like, yo, this is not for you. So I'll be very transparent. I wanted to maintain a nuclear family. I was also raised in the church, and in my mind, that was the most important thing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't happy, and she wasn't happy. So why are we trying to cling on to this thing for the idea of because everybody says you guys make such a good couple. What a beautiful family. You guys got to do everything you can. It gets to a point where you got to let it go. You got to let it go.
As much as it hurts.
Like, yeah, as much as it hurts. It's not doing good for you. It's not doing good for the other person. And if there's a child involved, you're also not doing good for them. Yeah. As much as you mask it, as much as you can shelter your child from it, it's not doing that child any good. So, oof, that's a lesson.
That's deep.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty straightforward. Good. I'm not afraid of it, and I feel like people can benefit if they actually if they heard this. You know, yeah. I think a lot of people struggle through that. They want to push through in the relationship, and you definitely hit a breaking point where you have to say it's okay to throw in the towel. It's okay to walk away. It doesn't have to be emotionally charged. It could be like, hey, I'm sorry this didn't work out.
Yeah.
I think it's okay if we walk away.
Yeah.
But I also feel that us as people in general, and what I've learned also from running a company, is that a lot of people don't know how to seek closure. And so we often look for those emotionally charged instances to end things. So people will try to create an emotionally charged situation to leave a job. Because that way it's like, oh, fuck them. They did me wrong, or they're mistreating me, and that's why I'm leaving. Rather than just saying,
being straight up.
Yeah, these things aren't working out. Like, hey, we're not meeting X, Y, and Z, so it's time for me to depart. And the same in the relationship. Hey, I've noticed, like, those are difficult conversations that I think a lot of people don't know how to have. I
agree. I think, like, every time, or most of the times I've had that conversation, I've been the one to go out of my way to be like, hey, we need to talk about this. And like, I hate the we need to talk, like, the anxiety with that, but like, yeah, it's like, like, oh my God. But like, they're necessary, because then what are you gonna keep doing? You're gonna keep pushing through this crap. You're gonna keep like making something work that is not gonna work. Like, you can't, and like it sucks. Like, I've been like devastated,
Yeah. But
like,
you were devastated for the moment.
Yeah, I'm like well,
And
look at
now
my Gator. This is cute. Oh, but whatever.
that was one of those moments that she has when she's out there with a gator.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But like, I'm good now. Hey, I mean, like,
Exactly.
obviously I have my dips and stuff, but hey, I'm and hopefully I don't jinx it, but like I feel like I just got out of a really, really tough point in my life, and I'm doing so much better. And I honestly, again, it goes back to like you sometimes have to go through those things to kind of value what you have now, or how you are now. Like, I'm not, I don't want to say I'm super happy, but I'm just so happy that I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that I'm okay. Okay is great to me. Okay is good enough. I don't have to be amazing, having, happy as hell. No. I just have to be okay.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like with the relationships and stuff, like, I'm horrible at goodbyes. Like, even not only with the relationships, like, for example, whenever I go visit my family in Honduras, like, I love my family so much. Again, I've said that, like, I don't know how many times, but whatever. Like, and whenever like I come back home, I'm like, man, like, it's so hard. It feels like a heartbreak. It really does. And I'm not good at it. I'm really not good at handling that. But eventually, like, I'll be okay, like.
But you have the insight to recognize I'm not good at this. So then now now that you have that knowledge, you have the power that next time a relationship is coming to an end, or something, or you're going to leave a job, you're like, oh, wait, let me prepare myself. I'm not good at these goodbyes. I'm not good at these terminations of relationships, or of people exiting my life. How can I do this differently this time? Right?
Yeah. Take that approach. Like, kind of like know what to expect as well. Be more like familiar, like, with oneself, how I take it and how I usually cope with it, how I have coped with it in the past. Was it good? Was it bad? Because there's been times that like like not really good, not good coping skills at all, like with specific things, but I've learned from that. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. That's not the way to handle a heartbreak or whatever. And then, I find different ways, like, and then if there is a pattern, you catch that pattern. It's like, okay, I've been doing this.
But I think how do you teach insight? And I think that's where therapy comes in, because as somebody starts communicating the things that they've been through in their life, and they're engaging with a therapist continuously over time, these patterns start repeating themselves. And then the therapist might say, hey, wait, doesn't this thing that exists right now in your life, doesn't it sound very similar to what you explained over here? And sometimes people don't make that connection on their own. And then when you point it out, then they start realizing, oh shit, this is a pattern.
Yeah.
I'm inviting the same people into my life. I'm getting involved in the same situation. I don't know how to get out of this relationship. And these things are happening over and over and over. And we're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
So until somebody's pushing against that pathway that's already been created, then we have no way to divert, and to navigate a different path.
I think that's why a lot of people are scared of like therapy. I mean, like, I get so mad, and like, I'll try not to get to like, well, whatever. I get so annoyed when like, especially again, like with certain men in my life, whatever. Not only men, but people in general. Like, when they are like, no, I don't want to go to therapy because that's for weak people. Because if you go to therapy, you have a problem and you're weak and you're crazy, whatever. But like, it's like, honestly, I see so much strength. I have so much more like, I feel like respect. I respect everyone, but I have more like respect for the people that are able to see like, no, like, I am strong because I'm able to face all these scary things. Like, I'm able to address these things. And like, maybe, I think therapy is for most people. It's not for everyone, but I feel like being able to experience that also with like, I think different therapists, if it's not like, if the first one didn't go well, like, again, everybody's like different in the way that they like might approach their modality, whatever. But like, point is like, I see so much strength in being able to confront yourself and go back to being able to notice the things that like, that's not easy, and go back to experiences that might have been very hurtful. Like, that's not easy. It's really not. And like, every time people open up to me, I greatly admire it. Like, some people are like, oh, I don't want to be a burden, this and that. And I'm like, no, like I love this. Like,
Yeah.
and not because I like love to see you suffering. I just love that you are trying so hard to help yourself. And like, I think that also goes back to like me as a younger kid or teenager. Like, I wish I had someone at the moment. Like, I didn't. Like, it's not that I didn't. I mean, like, I had my family, but it just wouldn't be the same. You know, like, it wasn't what I would have, like, what I can provide to people now. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't know when I didn't have that. And, like, I honestly, like, if I could, like, and I'm always like this, and sometimes a little bit too much because some people could, you know, take advantage of kindness. And I've definitely seen that as a pattern in my life. And I'm working on that too. But, like, if I'm able to be that person for someone and just help them realize, help them see more, help them support them in any kind of way, like, I'm more than glad, because I would have loved that, you know? Like, it's really hard to be in these dark places and not understand, so.
Or feel alone.
Feel
Completely, you feel like you're on an island by yourself. Nobody understands you. Nobody knows what you're going through. Nobody understands what you're feeling. And it's like, you're not alone.
No.
But it's really hard for people because they don't know where to go for help.
Exactly.
I just post, you know how now on Instagram, on the little message box on the top, you could put in like a little text. Yesterday, out of nowhere, I just said, oh, let me write something in here. And let me not lie about what I wrote, but it was so interesting because as a result, I put, if you need help, ask me. It's my purpose. This was last night, like at 10 p.m. I've put 4 people in therapy as a result.
Wow. Really?
People, hey, I read your message, blah, blah. I need help.
Oh, wow.
And just by putting it out there. So it's like, the more you put yourself out there and say, hey, like, I can, it's not for business. I referred 2 of those people out to someone else because I thought it was more appropriate. But it's just cool that people they just don't know who to trust or who to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's like, also, I feel like, like social media adds to that too. Like, to like being able to, well, people thinking that they're like defected or something, you know, like thinking that, oh, everyone else's lives is okay, mine is not, and I feel like this, and I don't know how to reach out for help. And I think that's beautiful that people were able to like reach out. And I honestly, like, I really do see so much strength in that. Like, I love being able to see that. Obviously, I don't like people suffering, but if you're able to try to help yourself in one way or another, whether it be through spirituality and hobbies and therapy and a combination of things, I think that is so beautiful because, you know, like, you're working on yourself. But again, going back to like the social media thing, a lot of people post like what you want to see. And yes, there's awareness of that, but people keep getting caught up in it. And like, they don't post the bad times, you know, they don't.
It's a highlight reel. It's a constant highlight reel.
Yeah. And like, I sometimes, and not too often, but sometimes I will post like certain things, like certain like posts that are like a little bit like melancholic and stuff. But it's like, it's not for people to feel sad for me. Or
but
anything.
I think that's people's response.
People,
they think that they want you to feel sorry for them. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to let people know that we go through shit and we're human.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where it's hard, because like, I think a lot of people, like, either way you're screwed, you know, like either way you're screwed. You either, oh, you're happy and, you know, you're not feeling depressed, you're not going through trauma or whatever, or, oh, you're so sad, like, you just want attention, you just want this, you want, like.
And it's not. It's like, no, I'm just having a human experience. And it's true. I've posted things, oh, like, if I had a rough day or a rough week, or maybe I'll be more specific about a situation that's going on. And the messages that I get are like, hey, are you okay? And which is cool. Yeah. But I also see where people kind of feel like they want to come and help me. And it's like, no, I actually don't need your help. I'm just being open that I'm going through something, and I'm okay human. Though. Yeah, and I'm human.
Yeah. I think that's something too that, like, I've been more able to talk about and be a little bit more open about, because, like, you know, if someone asks you and I'm doing bad, and if they say, how are you doing, you know, I don't usually say I'm not doing the best, you know, like, usually I'll be like, oh, I'm good. But now I'm like, okay, I'm fine, I'm okay. And then, like, if someone like asks, oh, why, then, you know, I'm open to telling you, okay, yeah, no, like, I haven't been feeling too good. I'm not expecting a whole therapy session or anything like that. It's just being real.
I've stopped, actually. Yeah, we had that conversation once where you were like, oh no, I'm just kind of going through it, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but exactly, like, being able to, like, be open about it, and, like, that's something newer to me too. But I've noticed, like, I could connect with people easier like that too. Obviously, like, I have to be careful with the people I trust with certain things, but just being able to let someone know, like, oh, like, I'm not doing my best right now. I'm actually going through things. And I still sometimes get the anxiety of, like, I don't want them to think I'm just attention seeking, because I'm really, like, not. I'm just trying to be, like, transparent, open. But, like, I've seen it, like, benefit people in the sense of, like, oh, yeah, me too. I haven't been feeling too good either. And, like, then they're like, man, they'll open up to me and they'll talk to me about something that they're like, wow, I didn't know I needed this. I didn't know I needed to talk to someone. And then, like, from there, I tell them, hey, like, therapy is a good thing. Because, like, some people might also have that misconception. Oh, you're the therapist friend. You're my therapist now. And it's like, no, I'm here to support you. And I love you and I'll be there for you. But at the same time, like, if you really think it's affecting you that much, like, you have to know that you have to, like, that you have to go out of your way to seek therapy. And another thing that, like, I don't like that I've been getting often now is, like, oh, you're so good at this because you're studying psychology. And it's like, no, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of skills I've learned from it. Tampoco that I don't, like, I'm getting this degree for no reason. No. I've learned a lot about it. But when I talk to friends, I don't necessarily think, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, I don't, like, I'm being my genuine self. And I feel like that is the reason why I've gotten into, like, this field. I went into this field because I'm able to be empathetic and because I'm able to, like, to be mindful and, like, really connect with people, and, like, I think that's something that I've been getting often, and, like, not to, like, complain about it, but it's like it feels a little bit invalidating,
No, it's not invalidating. I think people just don't recognize, like, you had this in you for a long time.
Yeah.
And you've had your own experiences, and the fact that you understand yourself so much more is the reason that you're able to empathize and have compassion for somebody that's going through it, and you're invested.
Yeah.
Some people don't really want to listen to somebody else's story or minor problems because what you perceive as my minor problems might be consuming my life, right? So if you are just dismissive as to what I tell you are my stressors, then you're not really listening to me, right? Maybe especially if you're not that empathic, compassionate person.
Yeah.
So I think I can relate. I think throughout my life, I remember just people approaching me and talking to me about different issues when I was working pediatric ICU, and there was somebody who was like a hostile family. Like, let's say if a child was like on the verge of death or something, I was 23, 24 years old, and the older nurses would come and say, hey, Adrian, can you go talk to this family? And it's like, and I was always just very confident to go sit down and address the issues that were going on.
Yeah.
Don't ask me where that came from, but I think it just came from an ability to communicate and really listen.
I think that's honestly, I think that is, it's such a blessing to have, like, that skill naturally and then be in this field. I think that's beautiful. And I think it's so, like, I think that's the type of people that this field needs. There are some people that don't have that but could build that skill. And I think that, they can be just as, I guess you could say, effective. But yeah, I think you're right. Like, usually when that does come up, when they're like, oh, like, you're just like this because you psychology, like, I kind of address it and I feel okay addressing it. Like, I'm just like, oh no, like, yeah, psychology is amazing. I love it and this and that. But, like, I've also always kind of been like this, and, like, I never have a problem doing that either. So, but yeah, I think you're right about, like, people just don't, it's not normal. I guess you could say it's not normal for some people to want to listen to things. And I think in my head, it's, like, normal because I've always kind of been like that, But, and also I could relate to you. Like, I was, like, 17 and I had, like, people, like, way older, like 40 something, asking me. Yeah. And I think that's, like, when I knew, I was like, yo, like, I have different age people talking to me, and I feel like I'm actually helping them. Like, I've also had people come back to me like, hey, like, I really appreciate you for this moment. And, like,
yeah,
you did a lot. And I'm like,
I've had those moments where people was like, hey, do you remember this conversation? I'm like, no.
Me too.
I don't. They're like, oh, you told me this, and that really kind of altered, like, not my life, but, like, the course that I was taking at that point in time. And I think it really was helpful. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, like, all right.
I don't know what I said, but great. That's great.
For me, like, I'll remember that I had that, like, conversation with that person, but I won't remember, like, details. And they will, but I won't remember details. But, like, I always value that. Like, I love those connections. I don't know, like, being able to, like, I think there's just something more than just talking. Obviously, like, that happens. Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily believe in like energies and stuff, but I feel like there's just some
I
sort
do.
of like you do.
I absolutely.
I don't know.
I think somebody walks into a room and you could feel a
Yeah.
shift in the room
Yeah.
just based on the mood that they bring. And where does that, like, they don't have to say a word. It's
No,
just the
it's
energy
there.
that they carry.
Yeah.
Like, I do. I mean,
No,
it's
I
not,
believe
I'm
in
not
that
one
too.
of like, not about chakras and stuff
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that.
That's what I meant. I don't believe in like the like really into it. Like, oh, like her energy, her aura is this. Like I don't know.
But
I'm
we
not
do.
really into
I mean,
that.
I don't. I'm not that I'm not that I'm into it, but I definitely know like
There's
we
something
carry
there.
an energy with us
Yeah.
whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
There's a definite shift when think about school. Like when certain people enter the classroom, there's a shift. Somebody might walk in, but like, hey, good morning, everyone. What's up? And then all of people start giggling or laughing. Some people are judging, but some people all of a sudden open up.
Yeah.
And I think the energy that you bring is definitely something that influences like your environment, no matter what.
The way that you're putting it like that, I do believe in. I don't really like. I don't want to say I don't believe in. I just haven't really like invested myself into that or like really like gotten to know like about like again like chakras and auras and stuff.
Like I did
that,
Reiki once. Have you ever done Reiki?
Wait, what is that?
Reiki is where you lay down and people don't really touch you, but they're just like
Hovering.
working. Yeah, hovering. Like their hands are hovering. They never really touch you. I don't know if it's placebo. I only did it once when I was in Los Angeles, and I remember just thinking, like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But there was something going on.
That sounds interesting. I feel like I would be open. That's another thing. I feel like I'm open to try so many things because I'm like so curious. Like I want to know. I want to experience so much. Like traveling. Oh my goodness. Like that is something I've like. I'm like I think currently I have like an obsession over because I've been looking at like so many videos on Instagram and stuff like that. But like I cannot wait and hopefully like hopefully I can do that. Like I can like travel, like explore places
You can.
and stuff like that.
You know
like,
what's cool about the field that you're in right now? It's gone so remote that you can eventually live in another country and still work for a company here and live abroad if you want.
Dude, that's something like that's what I want to do for like the first like maybe 2-3 years.
You're in the right
like,
field.
Yes. I'm honestly like I'm like the fact that I like when I found out that we're able to kind of like do that. I mean, I'm not 100% sure like the details of it when you're like a license in Florida. Like I know like you could be treating people in Florida and like
We'll
somewhere
talk about
else.
this later.
Yeah, we'll go into that later. But like just being able to travel, I think that's so cool. Like I love it. That's another thing is like travel. I want to go on a lot of solo trips, but I get scared about being like a woman on her own and stuff. Not that you can't do it. It's just
It's a little different.
Yeah.
I've gone on solo trips and I could see, I mean, I put myself in weird situations, but I'm a guy, so it's a little bit different where I feel comfortable with where I'm at and like, oh, okay, this could go wrong, but it's like, let's see what happens.
Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah. I get that. Like I don't know. Like, I mean, I definitely think like people have done it before. A lot of like, I've seen videos of females like go on solo trips.
I know
and,
girls
like,
that have gone to Thailand by themselves. That have gone, for sure, you could do it.
Yeah. I'm just like, I think that's something that I definitely do have like anxiety about. I think it's also like the way I was raised, like, being like, oh, be careful.
Ten
with this,
cuidado,
be
tú vas a
cuidado,
Brasil. No, estás ahí matan la gente. Tú vas para Colombia. No.
Like, vas a ir a Choloma, la parte de Honduras, ahí es donde te agarra machetazo. I'm like, ah.
You heard the accent come on. Huh? So let me ask you this. So for sure, you're going to have the opportunity to travel. Mm-hmm. You're scheduled to graduate in August, you said.
Yes.
And then licensure takes about a year. So 2 years? So it's 1,000 hours or 1,500 hours?
I think it's 1,500. I would have to double check. Okay. I remember they did this at 2 years.
I mean, we could do, I'll do the math later just to see like how many hours you have to work. But so let's say we fast forward. You're 26. You're a licensed clinician.
That looks nice. I'm like, yeah.
Where do you want to be?
Oh my God. I've been like having, again, like I think it's just like because I've been looking at like people that are doing it and stuff, like people living in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. But my dream locations is Australia. Always wanted to go to Australia and Africa. Maybe like I've seen that they have volunteer trips, and that's something I've been dying to do because then I got to do both. Because volunteer trips are like, they have ones not only for like animals, but they also have some for like like school systems
You could.
and medical
You
or whatever.
100% could.
Yeah, and like I've seen like there's one in Africa. It's at an animal orphanage, so it's like baby little like bro, it's perfect, right? I think it's in Zimbabwe. I could be wrong, but like there's so much that
I can tell you this: the act of serving, the act of going abroad, serving on missions has been a major shift in my life.
Yeah.
The first time I went on a missions trip, I was 22, probably 22 years old, and since then I've been to DR twice. I've stayed in orphanages for 2 weeks. I've been to Haiti twice. I was in Haiti right after the earthquake with Project Metashare, which now has a base there. I've been to Guatemala. And this has been quoted that I've said it before, but I will say it again. You go out to these places thinking that you're going to help and serve and save people, and in the end you end up finding out that you're the person being saved, that you're the one being helped. Because really our service is only a drop in a bucket, right? And yeah, you are helping these individual people, but what it sounds selfish, right? But in the end, you're the one who realizes and you recognize, like, you come back with more gratitude for what you have, a new perspective on life, just an understanding of what the world is and how lucky you are to have the position that you're in. And then beyond that, those people who are quote unquote unlucky, who are living in a state of poverty, how even they have such a, how do I verbalize this? Despite that state that they're in, the hope, the love, the joy, the contentment that they have without all these material things. So then you come back and you start questioning, like, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. Like, I don't need these things. These people are so happy with the very little that they have, with what we call this severe state of poverty. But then they're still finding joy and hope and love. So, yeah, I think we just spend so much time here in the United States thinking the more I gain, the better off I'm going to be. And it's not necessarily the truth.
No, it's not. Like, I've always seen that. Like, when I was younger, I would go to Honduras and I would stay there for the summer. Sometimes we'd be like 1 year yes, 1 year no, or like whatever. But, like, I love it. Like, that is like my sanctuary. That is my sanctuary because, like, it's so different. It is so different, and like, not for it to sound like again selfish, but it's so humbling. Like, so humbling, and it's so like spiritual, emotional. I think it's so much of everything. Like, I have family in different parts of Honduras and stuff, and like, they're not as fortunate. Like, I don't want to say fortunate. They're not as like financially like stable and stuff like us, and obviously we do as much as we can to help them, but it's just a different country, different lifestyle, and it's so like beautiful and simple. Like, I don't know, I love being there. Like, my family is lovely too. Like, I don't know, it's just different. Like, man, they have fun like from the smallest things. Like, my best memories, I think, are from there. Like, as a kid, like, I don't know, like, we would do like the dumbest little things, but it would bring so much joy, like so much, like, and again, seeing how simple, even though they're lacking a lot of the stuff that, like, I guess the American like household or like person would have, they're still like find ways of getting like that type of pleasure and enjoyment and like life like that. I don't know how to explain it, just like life pure in itself. And it's like, I've also, like, that's another place that I was actually planning on moving to Honduras for like a few months and then coming back during, like, I wanted to take a gap year between my bachelor's and my master's, but they were waiving the GRE when I
so you're like,
I'm going
in.
I'm not the best at standardized testing. Oh my god,
GRE is terrible. It's a terrible exam.
No, thank God, like, I'm so happy that I did not, like, I got accepted in and like everything, so I just went straight off the bat. Like, I graduated. When did I graduate? My bachelor's 2020. Yeah, I graduated. No, 2019. I don't know, 2021, I think, and then I got into my master's that August. So, but it was, again, like, the GRE was being waived because of COVID and all that, and like I was able to like just go straight to it. But like initially, like what I wanted to do is like take a few months, go to Honduras, be with my family there, because that's another thing. Like I have like most of my mom's side of the family's there.
No, like you could probably go to Honduras, work, make money, and stay there for a while.
Yeah.
You can't go to Australia because the time difference is going to be an issue
different.
for you.
Yeah.
But for sure you can go to Honduras.
Yeah. And
Let
so like
No, go ahead. No, please.
No, I was gonna say still part of like my plan of like I don't know how or when, but like just try to visit as much as I can.
And you're gonna have so many opportunities.
Yeah, hopefully.
Just get it. Once you're licensed, though.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: we've been talking for 2+ hours.
Oh wow! I didn't even notice.
When's the last time that you sat across from somebody and just had a uninterrupted 2-hour conversation?
Why do I feel like that was somewhat uninterrupted, like just one-on-one?
Like just one-on-one.
Not 2 hour, but like yeah. No. I have. Like,
You have
probably like 2 weeks ago. Or
so you're good. You're the first person.
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Most people I speak to are like, I don't even remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because of that. Again, it might go back to that, like when people open up to me, and like my brother, he's so funny. He's like, your hours of therapy are not during the day. It's from like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Because like there has been so many times that I've talked to people and like
late night.
Yeah, late night. Like it will just come up, and then like we end up talking till like 5 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my god,
cut
like,
that conversation off. I will cut that conversation. Yo, I can't. I don't function. I'll be like, listen, let's talk about this tomorrow. Sleep. Let your brain process. Here's a homework assignment. You should write. Regroup, and then let's talk tomorrow. I will not. This ain't high school. Giselle, what's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. I will say the next day I'll be like, I need some sleep.
No, I cannot go in like that. Bueno, anything that we left on the table that you wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, I just want to say like thank you for having me on the podcast.
No, for sure.
I just touching over like certain things. I love my Gators. Shout out to my sons.
Of course, yeah.
MMA is amazing. I love that. Hopefully I could continue to grow in it. I am still kind of new to it, but it's something that I'm already super passionate about. Family's amazing. Like, I mean, psychology, another thing that I always want to immerse myself into. Traveling, hobbies are so important. I want to just like, I made a bucket list like when I was like getting out of high school, and like the stuff that I've always wanted to try, like for example like skydiving, surfing, modeling and stuff like that, like, and I want to try to hit as many as possible, but I want to also be good at them. So like, because I try so many things and whatever. And no, I mean, I think for the people that are struggling through certain things, whether it be at the moment, again, even small things that are mean the world to them, like please reach out for help. Like, please. I think it's so important. It could literally save your life. Like, literally save your life. Like, it sounds dramatic, but it's the truth. Like if you think about it, who in their right mind would end their life? You get me? But that's the thing. Like, that's why it's a real thing. Like depression affects people, or whatever it may be, trauma, whatever, anxiety. Like, it could bring you to that extent. Mm-hmm. So please reach out. Like, please reach out to anyone if you're feeling at that point. Like, people that you trust, and go to therapy, man. Go to therapy.
There you go. Therapy, bro.
Go to therapy, bro.
I agree.
Yeah, no,
I agree 100%. Well, I think that first and foremost, thank you. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you for the crazy things that you do. And just thank you for kind of talking about your own lived experience and how you've gotten through it, and that it's not just one thing. It's how it's been, the support of your family, the things that you engage with, therapy, medications, but the combination of everything, the pursuits that you have, and then your desire to help people. It's beautiful. And I hope that's contagious.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's a pleasure. What on Giselle? Not Edith, it's Giselle. People, get it right.
Giselle Gonzalez.
Peace.
Bye.